The world stands on the edge of a new technological era as the race for military superiority intensifies. Leading the charge, the U.S. has unveiled its cutting-edge X-44 Manta, a next-generation aircraft that promises to revolutionize air combat. Beyond fortifying alliances with advanced nations like the Quad, the U.S. is enhancing its air power with this game-changing aircraft. What makes the X-44 Manta truly exceptional? How will it redefine the balance of global military power? Join us as we explore the mind-blowing features of the new 2025 X-44 Manta that is ready for battle, terrifying Russia and China. As China is gearing up to reveal its latest warplanes at an eagerly awaited air show, the U.S. has also unveiled something interesting: the X-44 Manta. This aircraft is one of the most secretive projects in U.S. military aviation. Developed by Lockheed Martin, this advanced stealth aircraft was designed without a traditional tail, which made it stand out from other planes. This unique design aimed to improve stealth and maneuverability, setting it apart as a groundbreaking innovation in aviation. This aircraft is considered very fast and can speed up to Mach 1 in just seconds, setting a new record for fighter jets. Its special design and stealth features make it nearly invisible to radar and the human eye, thanks to a new coating called parallax. Initially, the project was secret, and it seemed like development had stopped. While there were suggestions that this aircraft might not even be real, recent leaks from the Pentagon and sightings of the X-44 Manta showed that the aircraft truly exists and is being improved for complex combat missions. NASA and the U.S. Air Force started working on the X-44 aircraft in the 1990s, when the U.S. military was searching for new ways to create an unmatched stealth aircraft. The plan was to test Manta, or multi-axis no-tail aircraft technology, on either an F-22 Raptor or an F-15, with test flights projected to begin by 2007. Another feature that makes this aircraft exceptional is that NASA believed the technologies that were developed for the X-44 could be useful for other projects like the F-22, the Joint Strike Fighter, and even future commercial supersonic planes. Initial funding for the feasibility work came from the government and two contractors, and the program was officially approved in mid-1999 when the aircraft was designated the X-44A. However, the funding for the X-44 ended in 2000, halting further development. Some later FB-22 proposals considered using a tailless design similar to the X-44's, continuing research from the Manta project. This aircraft was designed by Lockheed Martin with the goal of showcasing an aircraft controlled entirely by vector thrust without the need for traditional control surfaces. The design removed the tail and vertical stabilizers, which reduced the radar signature and improved efficiency by simplifying the overall structure. Thrust vectoring, which redirects the engine's exhaust to control the aircraft's direction, would provide yaw, pitch, and roll control, replacing traditional mechanical flight controls. The X-44 design was based on the F-22, sharing its engine and fuselage, but the aircraft would have a larger delta wing, allowing for more fuel storage. By removing the tail and rudder surfaces, the X-44 would reduce mechanical complexity while increasing agility and fuel efficiency, leading to a more streamlined and advanced aircraft. This tailless design sparked a lot of interest. However, it wasn't just for aesthetics, because the design helped reduce its radar visibility and enhanced its maneuverability. The Manta could reach speeds of 1,740 miles per hour and fly at altitudes up to 68,900 feet for reconnaissance missions, making it perfect for dangerous tasks. But then, things changed. Suddenly, the project became classified, and information about it started to vanish. The Pentagon didn't make any comment about it, which only increased public curiosity. Many began to think the aircraft was so advanced that its existence had to be kept secret, even from allies. One thing was clear: the X-44 Manta was more than just an airplane. It was a breakthrough in technology. One of the most surprising features of the Manta is its ability to become invisible, not just to radar, but also to the human eye. Imagine an aircraft that can vanish in an instant, leaving the enemy confused. This invisibility is made possible by a special coating called parallax, which acts like a camera and display at the same time. The bottom part of the airplane shows the image from the top, and the top shows the image from the bottom, making it seem like the plane has completely disappeared. But there's more. The X-44 fighter comes with some of the most advanced weapon systems, including hypersonic missiles that can hit targets within 16 feet. These missiles can travel at speeds of 2,000 and 850 miles per hour, making them much faster than regular air defense systems, which makes the Manta nearly unbeatable in combat. Additionally, the aircraft carries precision bombs that can hit their targets accurately, even when flying at high speeds. This aircraft can soar over the battlefield at speeds of 1,740 miles per hour while completely undetected. Even without weapons, the Manta is as deadly as a lightning bolt. This aircraft is definitely a game changer, and there are talks that it might have an electromagnetic gun. Whether that's true or not, it's clear that the X-44 Manta will be very important in future battles. Just think about discovering a plane that can actually disappear, defeat, and outshine any fighter. The United States is also working on a bomber with capabilities that has terrified Russia and China. This bomber, the Northrop Grumman B-21 Raider, is a new strategic bomber being developed for the U.S. Air Force. As part of the Long-Range Strike Bomber program, it's designed to be a stealth aircraft capable of delivering both regular and nuclear weapons over long distances. Named after the famous Doolittle Raiders from the Second World War, the B-21 is set to replace older bombers like the B-1 Lancer and B-2 Spirit by 2040. It may also eventually take over from the Boeing B-52 Stratofortress. The Long-Range Strike Bomber program started in 2011 to create a stealth bomber for the U.S. Air Force that could carry both regular and nuclear weapons. In 2014, the Air Force asked companies to submit proposals, and in 2015, Northrop Grumman was chosen to develop the aircraft. Boeing and Lockheed Martin, who also wanted the contract, protested the decision, but in 2016, the Government Accountability Office confirmed that Northrop Grumman's proposal was chosen because it was more affordable. The Air Force Rapid Capabilities Office manages the B-21 program, though it still reports to Congress about its progress. In 2015, it was reported that the Air Force wanted the B-21 to be more than a bomber. It could also collect intelligence, manage battles, and even act as an interceptor. Northrop Grumman calls the B-21 the world's first sixth-generation aircraft. In 2016, at the Air Warfare Symposium, the U.S. Air Force announced that the long-range strike bomber would be named the B-21 because it is the first bomber of the 21st century. Later that year, it was named Raider in honor of the Doolittle Raiders, with retired Lieutenant Colonel Richard E. Cole, the last living member, present at the ceremony. 7 key suppliers were selected for the program in 2016, including Pratt & Whitney and BAE Systems. The B-21's engines are similar to those of the F-35 to help reduce costs. By 2018, the program had completed its critical design review, and in 2020, new renderings showed a smaller, lighter aircraft compared to the B-2 bomber. The Air Force initially aimed for the bomber to enter service in the mid-2020s. But by 2021, the date was pushed to 2027. Similar to the X-44 Manta, many details about the B-21 program remain classified. Some information has been made public since 2015. The first B-21 was shown to the public in December 2022 at a Northrop Grumman facility in Palmdale, California. Its first flight happened on November 10, 2023, and by September 2024, 3 B-21s were actively being tested. The Australian Strategic Policy Institute suggested that Australia should consider buying B-21 Raiders to improve its long-range strike capability. The report said a B-21 can fly 2,500 miles without refueling and carry more weapons compared to the F-35 jets, which can only fly 930 miles and need refueling. One B-21 can also deliver the same impact as several F-35s and can strike targets from safer air bases in southern Australia, closer to more resources. During talks, the U.S. mentioned that Australia might be able to purchase the B-21. U.S. Air Force Secretary Frank Kendall said there was no limit to working together, and they would discuss long-range strike options if needed. However, Australia's Defence Strategic Review later decided that the B-21 wasn't the best option. Instead, they opted to upgrade their F-35As and F/A-18Fs to newer versions that can use advanced missiles. A report later recommended that Australia might reconsider buying the B-21 if there are delays in other defense programs. The B-21's test program is managed by the U.S. Air Force at Edwards Air Force Base. The first B-21 flight took place in late 2023, followed by more testing flights. By mid-2024, 3 test aircraft were in use, with one doing weekly flights and the others used for ground testing. Now, let's circle back to China's response to the United States unveiling the latest aviation technology. On September 25, the People's Liberation Army Air Force revealed that it will debut its latest warplanes at the Zhuhai Air Show, scheduled from November 12 to 17 in Zhuhai, Guangdong Province. This biennial event is China's largest air show and draws huge audiences eager to witness the display of China's growing military and commercial aircraft capabilities. At a press conference, Lieutenant General Yu Qingjiang, Vice Commander of the PLAAF, stated that these new warplanes would perform in a flight demonstration. He emphasized that the PLAAF will showcase its abilities in air combat, airstrikes, unmanned and counter-unmanned warfare, strategic delivery, airdropping, early warning, and air defense, all using advanced equipment being shown to the public for the first time. You also highlighted that this exhibition reflects China's determination to protect its national sovereignty, unity, and territorial integrity, while also promoting its stance on maintaining peace, openness to cooperation, and ensuring equal communication in global affairs. Although specific aircraft were not named, the announcement has fueled speculation about what might be revealed. Some experts suggest that China may display next-generation aircraft or advanced aero engines. However, Chinese military aviation expert Fu Chanxiao mentioned that despite widespread rumors about the H-20 bomber, it is likely still not ready for public display. In 2016, PLAAF General Ma Jiushun revealed that China was working on a new long-range bomber. By 2018, a military spokesperson confirmed the project was progressing well. The U.S. Department of Defense expects the H-20 to be a flying wing design with a range of over 8,500 kilometers and the ability to carry at least 10 tons of weapons, including conventional or nuclear payloads. The bomber is designed to target U.S. military bases in Guam and Hawaii. Over the years, several models and images of the H-20 have appeared online, showing features like serrated air intakes and foldable twin tails. In 2022, Chinese media suggested the bomber was close to its first flight. This development follows months after PLA Air Force Deputy Commander Wang Wei mentioned that the highly anticipated H-20 bomber would be revealed soon, though he didn't give a specific timeline. The H-20 is seen as China's answer to the US B-21 Raider, which is already in low-rate production. Although no official details were shared, a Chinese aviation expert speculated that several advanced aircraft might make an appearance at the air show, including the Y-20 transport plane, equipped with new domestic engines and unmanned stealth drones. Additionally, the expert noted that a new special operations aircraft and a medium-sized stealth fighter jet based on the FC-31 might be showcased at the event. This is particularly significant as China is reportedly testing a new carrier-based stealth fighter derived from the FC-31, a fifth-generation aircraft. Recently, a documentary on China's state-owned broadcaster, CCTV, hinted that an unknown carrier-based jet was tested on the Liaoning, China's first aircraft carrier. Although details remain secret, rumors suggest that the aircraft in question could be the J-35, the carrier-based version of the FC-31. Fu Chanxiao, a Chinese aviation expert, also pointed out that the FC-31 was shown in its original form at previous air shows. He expressed interest in seeing if updated models would debut this time. Media reports suggest that there may be several versions of the FC-31, including land-based and carrier-based variants. As China's biggest air show, the Zhuhai event draws significant attention, and it seems that Beijing is preparing to flex its military might once again. This comes just after China tested a long-range intercontinental ballistic missile in the Pacific, which sent shockwaves across the Indo-Pacific region. The timing of these developments adds to the anticipation of what will be revealed at the air show as China continues to showcase its expanding military capabilities. As tensions rise in the Indo-Pacific region, China's Ministry of Defense announced that the People's Liberation Army carried out an intercontinental ballistic missile test on September 25 in the Pacific Ocean. This was the first ICBM test in 44 years. The missile, known as DF-41, has been in service since 2017 and has a range of 12,000 to 15,000 kilometers, making it capable of carrying nuclear warheads over great distances. The test involved a simulated warhead that successfully hit a predetermined target in the ocean, according to the Chinese MOD. The ministry described the test as part of routine military exercises, aimed at evaluating the performance of weapons and training. While China claimed it informed relevant countries in advance, Japan expressed dissatisfaction for not being notified earlier. This test, the first in decades, is seen as a message to China's regional rivals and the United States. The timing of the test, shortly after U.S. President Joe Biden's address at the UN on managing competition with China, has further fueled speculations. In February 2016, the head of Air Force Global Strike Command said they expected to initially order 100 B-21 bombers, aiming for a full fleet of 175 to 200 aircraft. However, by 2017, two USAF studies suggested the initial order could increase to 145 bombers. The B-21s are being assembled at Plant 42 in Palmdale, California, the same facility where Northrop Grumman built the B-2 bombers in the 1980s and 1990s. In January 2017, Northrop Grumman was awarded a $35.8 million contract to create a special facility at Plant 42 for stealth coatings, likely for the B-21. Construction of the first B-21 started by mid-2019, and by early 2021, media reported that both the first and second aircraft were under construction. At a congressional hearing in June 2021, Darlene Costello, Acting Assistant Secretary of the Air Force for Acquisition, Technology and Logistics, confirmed that two B-21s were being built at Plant 42. By February 2022, 6 B-21s were under construction, and the first was moved to a calibration facility in March 2022. Around 8,000 Northrop Grumman employees and 400 suppliers from over 40 states have worked on the project. The first B-21 was unveiled at Northrop Grumman's facility in Palmdale on December 2, 2022. At the unveiling, Northrop CEO Kathy Warden mentioned that the B-21 is designed with a modular, open systems architecture to allow for easy upgrades and potential export of components to foreign buyers. She also said the B-21 systems were far more advanced than the B-2, and the bomber is slightly smaller but has a longer range. Unlike typical prototypes, the first B-21s are test aircraft that will be converted into operational models after testing is completed. In September 2023, officials reported that engine and fueling tests were progressing, preparing for the first flight later that year. On November 10, 2023, the B-21 successfully completed its first test flight at Plant 42 in Palmdale, California. Finally, a low-rate initial production contract for the B-21 program was awarded on January 23, 2024. In July 2006, the U.S. Air Force decided not to reveal the cost of Northrop's B-21 bomber contract, fearing it would give away too much classified information to rivals. The Senate Armed Services Committee also voted to keep the program's cost secret, sharing it only with defense committees, despite opposition led by Senator John McCain. McCain suggested cutting the B-21 budget by $3 million due to a lower-than-expected contract value and push for strict cost controls and performance reports. Although earlier versions of the 2017 defense bill called for the B-21's total cost to be made public, this requirement was removed in the final version. By December 2022, each B-21 was estimated to cost $700 million, and the Air Force expected to spend at least $203 billion over 30 years to develop, buy, and operate a fleet of 100 bombers. Maintenance of the B-21 will be managed by Tinker Air Force Base in Oklahoma, with testing and evaluation at Edwards Air Force Base in California. It will likely be based at current bomber bases like Dyess AFB, Ellsworth AFB, and Whiteman AFB. In March 2019, Ellsworth was chosen as the base for the first operational and training B-21 unit. By 2040, the B-21 is set to replace the aging B-1 and B-2 bombers, and possibly the B-52 in the future. It is a key part of U.S. Indo-Pacific military strategy, particularly in a potential conflict with China. There was talk of a drone to accompany the B-21, but the idea was dropped due to cost concerns. The Air Force is also developing a new long-range fighter, the FX, to help escort the B-21 and protect it from enemy defenses. Incredibly, America's enemies have tried to attack Marine One over 47 times in the past decade, but failed each time. This $80 million chopper rises from the White House lawn with missile jammers, decoys, and bulletproof windows, making it a fortress in the sky. It can even coordinate nuclear response while flying through storms. Yet experts wonder, could it withstand an electromagnetic pulse attack? And why are Pentagon officials so secretive about its ghost mode radar invisibility? Join us as we explore the $80 million presidential helicopter, the MV-22 Marine One. Few people know that America's prestigious presidential helicopter fleet started because of atomic bombs. In 1946, while watching nuclear tests at Bikini Atoll, Marine General Roy S. Geiger had a startling realization. Traditional beach landings were becoming too dangerous in the atomic age. With troops, ships, and equipment clustered together on beaches, they'd be perfect targets for nuclear weapons. This concerning observation led to the birth of Marine Helicopter Squadron 1, also known as HMX-1, on December 1, 1947. Under the command of Colonel Edward C. Dyer, this experimental unit set up shop at Marine Corps Air Station, Quantico, Virginia. The location wasn't random. It was strategically chosen to be near both the Sikorsky and Piasecki helicopter plants in Connecticut and the Marine Corps schools, where they would find their first pilots and crew members. The squadron started with two helicopter models, the nimble Sikorsky HO-3S1 and the larger Piasecki HRP-1, nicknamed the Flying Banana because of its unusual curved shape. These early helicopters were primitive by today's standards, as they lacked basics like cabin heating and could only carry 3 Marines at a time. In May 1947, HMX-1 conducted its first major test. 5 helicopters launched from the deck of the USS Palau, an aircraft carrier, and transported 66 Marines to Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. While it took multiple trips due to the small passenger capacity, this test proved that helicopter transport was not just possible, it was the future of military mobility. The Marine Corps quickly recognized the potential of these flying machines. In 1948, they published their first manual for helicopter operations, officially titled Amphibious Operations, Employment of Helicopters, or FIB 31. The Marines coined the term vertical envelopment instead of the more commonly used air mobility, or air assault, emphasizing their unique approach to aerial combat tactics. When the Korean War broke out in 1950, HMX-1 faced its first real combat test. 4 of its helicopters joined the VMO-6 squadron to support the 1st Provisional Marine Brigade during the crucial Battle of Pusan Perimeter. These helicopters proved invaluable for battlefield observation, controlling troop movements, evacuating wounded soldiers, and rescuing downed pilots. During the brutal Chosin Reservoir campaign, HMX-1 helicopters served as vital communication links between Marine units spread along the reservoir's western edge. The squadron's success in Korea was so impressive that it was tasked with training new helicopter pilots to meet the growing demands of the war. Many of these pilots would go on to form HMR-161, the Marine Corps' first dedicated helicopter transport squadron. Today's Marine One fleet, with its advanced technology and prestigious mission, traces its roots back to those pioneering days of military helicopter aviation. The squadron's early focus on safety, precision, and reliability, developed during those first experimental flights and combat missions, remains evident in every presidential flight they conduct today. After proving itself in military operations, could anyone have predicted that HMX-1's next mission would involve transporting the most powerful person in the world? The transformation began on September 7, 1957, during what seemed like a routine day. President Dwight D. Eisenhower was vacationing in Newport, Rhode Island, when urgent news arrived about the Little Rock 9 crisis. 9 black students were being blocked from attending Central High School by the Arkansas National Guard, creating a constitutional crisis that demanded the president's immediate attention. The traditional return route to Washington was painfully slow. An hour-long ferry ride, followed by a 45-minute flight on Air Force One, and topped off with a 20-minute motorcade to the White House. With time critical, someone remembered that there was an HMX-1 UH-34 helicopter standing by on Aquaneck Island for emergencies. Colonel Virgil D. Olson, who would become a legendary figure in Marine One history, received the urgent call. Within minutes, he and his crew rushed to the Naval War College, where the Eisenhowers were staying. The historic 6-minute flight across Narragansett Bay to Air Force One changed presidential travel forever. Colonel Olson didn't just fly the first presidential helicopter mission, he revolutionized the entire operation. He introduced several innovations that are still used today, including the distinctive white top paint scheme that gave these helicopters their famous white top nickname. When the White House gardener complained about rotor wash destroying the South Lawn's landscaping, Olson created the iconic white circular landing target that Marine One still uses today. The presidential helicopter fleet evolved through several aircraft generations. The VH-34 Choctaw served as the first official presidential helicopter in 1957, followed by the VH-3A Sea King in 1962. The VH-3D Sea King, introduced in the late 1970s, brought significant improvements in comfort and security. In 1987, the smaller, more agile VH-60N White Hawk joined the fleet, offering better performance for overseas missions. What many people don't know is that until 1976, the Army shared presidential helicopter duties with the Marines, using the call sign Army One when carrying the president. The Marines' exceptional service record led President Gerald Ford to assign them sole responsibility for presidential helicopter transport. A historic milestone occurred on July 16, 2009, when Major Jennifer Greaves commanded the first all-female Marine One crew. This groundbreaking flight, which was also Greaves' final mission as the first female presidential helicopter pilot, demonstrated how far the squadron had come from its all-male beginnings. The presidential helicopters have witnessed countless historic moments. They evacuated President Richard Nixon from the White House after his resignation, transported presidents to secret bunkers during national emergencies, and even helped Ronald Reagan bypass Washington traffic to visit his wife Nancy in the hospital. Modern Marine One helicopters are technological marvels compared to their predecessors. They feature advanced communication systems that allow the president to run the country from the air, defensive countermeasures that can defeat missiles, and secure video conferencing capabilities. The cabins are designed to provide the same level of comfort and functionality as the Oval Office, ensuring the president never loses a moment of productivity. Looking ahead, the Marine One fleet continues to evolve. The new VH-92A Patriot, which made its first presidential flight in 2024, represents the next chapter in this prestigious legacy. With enhanced range, speed, and security features, these aircraft ensure that the president can respond to any crisis, anywhere in the world, at a moment's notice. But perhaps the most remarkable aspect of Marine One's evolution isn't the technology, it's the unwavering dedication to excellence that began with Colonel Olson's historic flight and continues with every Marine One mission today. While Marine One's legacy of excellence has never wavered, what happens when even the most prestigious helicopter fleet in the world faces the harsh reality of aging aircraft and changing threats? The quest to modernize Marine One began in the early 2000s, sparked by a sobering realization after the September 11 attacks. The existing helicopters, though reliable, couldn't accommodate the new security equipment and communication systems needed for an increasingly dangerous world. They had become so loaded down with added gear that their performance was suffering. In 2005, the Pentagon launched what seemed like a straightforward plan: replace the aging fleet with the VH-71 Kestrel, a modified version of a European helicopter called the Augusta-Westland AW101. The initial budget was $6.1 billion for 28 helicopters. However, this project soon became a cautionary tale in military procurement. As requirements grew, costs skyrocketed. Each helicopter's price tag ballooned to $400 million, which was more than Air Force One, the president's customized 747 jumbo jet. The program's total cost eventually reached a staggering $13 billion, leading to its cancellation in 2009. This left the Marine Corps in a difficult position, forced to keep maintaining their aging fleet while searching for a new solution. During this period, Marines had to become increasingly creative in maintaining the existing helicopters. They established partnerships with museums housing retired presidential helicopters to salvage spare parts that were no longer manufactured. Engineers developed innovative ways to manufacture replacement components using 3D printing technology, a practice that was revolutionary at the time. The failure of the VH-71 program led to a complete overhaul in how the military approaches presidential helicopter procurement. Instead of trying to create an entirely new aircraft, they decided to modify an existing proven design. This led to the selection of Sikorsky's S-92 helicopter, which would become the VH-92A Patriot. The VH-92A program has been remarkably different from its predecessor. By building on a helicopter already in commercial service, developers could focus on presidential-specific modifications rather than solving basic aircraft design challenges. The contract, awarded in 2014, called for 21 helicopters at a significantly lower cost per aircraft. The new helicopter brings impressive capabilities to the White House fleet. Its cabin is 30% larger than the previous Marine One, allowing for more security personnel and equipment. Advanced fly-by-wire controls make it easier to pilot in challenging conditions. Perhaps most importantly, its modular design allows for easier upgrades as technology advances. One fascinating aspect rarely discussed is the extensive testing these helicopters undergo. Before carrying the president, each VH-92A must complete a series of unusual trials. These include landing in artificial sandstorms, flying through simulated electromagnetic pulses, and even surviving simulated lightning strikes. The helicopters must also prove they can safely land on the White House lawn without damaging the historic gardens, a requirement that dates back to Colonel Olson's day. The VH-92A made its first operational presidential flight in August 2024, marking the beginning of a new era for Marine One. The remaining fleet is scheduled to be fully operational by 2025, gradually replacing the trusted VH-3D and VH-60N helicopters that have served presidents for decades. This modernization effort represents more than just new helicopters. It's a complete reimagining of presidential transport for the modern age. With threats ranging from cyber attacks to electromagnetic warfare, these aircraft must serve as both transport and mobile command centers, ready for any crisis that might emerge. With cutting-edge helicopters ready to serve, how does Marine One stay one step ahead of ever-evolving security threats in today's complex world? The answer lies in what insiders call the presidential shell game, a carefully choreographed dance of identical helicopters that keeps adversaries guessing. When Marine One takes off, it's never alone. Up to 5 identical helicopters fly in formation, constantly shifting positions to hide which one carries the president. This aerial ballet is so effective that even sophisticated surveillance systems can't reliably track the presidential aircraft. What makes these helicopters instantly recognizable is their distinctive white top appearance. Dark green bodies crowned with pristine white paint above the windows. But this isn't just for looks. The color scheme, originated by Colonel Olson in the 1950s, helps reduce solar heating in the cabin and makes the aircraft easily identifiable to authorized personnel. Behind these missions stands an elite force of over 800 Marines, each holding the highly restricted Yankee White security clearance. This clearance is so stringent that even a distant relative's questionable activities can disqualify a candidate. Every Marine must pass extensive background checks, regular polygraph tests, and continuous security monitoring. The squadron operates from 3 main locations: Marine Corps Air Facility Quantico, which is their headquarters, Joint Base Anacostia Bowling in Washington, D.C., and Joint Base Andrews in Maryland. What's less known is that each facility maintains hardened shelters with their own power supplies, enabling operations even during widespread emergencies. Marine One's defensive capabilities remain largely classified, but some details have emerged. The helicopters carry advanced electronic warfare systems that can jam enemy radar and missile guidance systems. Special infrared countermeasures can confuse heat-seeking missiles, while chaff dispensers release clouds of metal strips to deflect radar-guided threats. The security extends to maintenance procedures. Every part installed on Marine One must have a documented chain of custody from manufacture to installation. Tools are carefully inventoried, and work areas are swept for electronic devices. Even the fuel undergoes special testing before each flight, a practice implemented after a 1970s incident when contaminated fuel almost caused a presidential helicopter emergency. Transportation of Marine One itself involves another layer of security. When the president travels, the helicopters are airlifted by Air Force C-17, Globemaster III, or C-5 Galaxy transport planes. These massive aircraft carry not just the helicopters, but also spare parts, maintenance equipment, and support personnel. The loading process happens inside secure hangars, shielded from prying eyes. One lesser-known aspect of Marine One operations is the extensive weather monitoring system. A network of automated weather stations around Washington, D.C. provides real-time data to crews. This system can detect dangerous wind conditions around the White House and other landing zones, crucial for safe operations in urban areas. Communication is another critical component. Marine One maintains simultaneous connections with multiple military and civilian networks, ensuring the president never loses contact with military commanders or emergency services. The helicopter can receive secure data from satellites, ground stations, and other aircraft, creating a comprehensive picture of potential threats. The Marines constantly train for worst-case scenarios. In secure facilities, they practice responding to everything from mechanical failures to electromagnetic pulse attacks. These drills often involve multiple agencies and take place in simulators so advanced they can replicate the feel of landing on the White House lawn during a storm. Despite all these security measures, perhaps the most remarkable fact about Marine One is its perfect safety record. No presidential helicopter has ever been involved in an accident or successful attack. This testament to Marine Corps dedication raises an intriguing question. As technology continues to advance at breakneck speed, what new security innovations will protect future presidents in the skies above Washington? The Bell Boeing 522. Osprey is a unique aircraft that combines the capabilities of a helicopter and an airplane. Known as a tilt-rotor aircraft, it takes off and lands vertically like a helicopter, but can fly at high speeds and cover long distances like a fixed-wing airplane. The Osprey was designed to meet the United States military's need for a versatile, high-speed transport vehicle, especially after challenges encountered during the Iran hostage crisis in 1980. Its innovative design allows it to carry troops and cargo over long distances and difficult terrains quickly, making it an essential tool in modern military operations. The V-22 Osprey's ability to switch between helicopter and airplane modes is due to its tilt-rotor technology. This feature allows the rotors at the end of each wing to rotate. When the rotors face upwards, the Osprey can take off and land vertically. Once airborne, the rotors rotate forward, enabling it to fly like an airplane at speeds and ranges far beyond what most helicopters can achieve. In airplane mode, the Osprey reaches speeds of up to 316 miles per hour, and its maximum range exceeds 1,000 miles, making it a highly efficient choice for long-distance missions. Initially developed in the 1980s, the Osprey took over 20 years to refine and field test before becoming operational in the United States Marine Corps in 2007. The United States Air Force followed in 2009 with its version, the CV-22B, designed specifically for long-range missions. The United States Navy joined in 2021 with the CMV-22B model adapted for aircraft carrier missions. The Osprey's versatility has made it a valuable asset across different branches of the United States military, and even the Japanese self-defense forces use the aircraft. One of the most notable uses of the Osprey is its role in transporting personnel for presidential support missions. For such critical tasks, reliability, speed, and versatility are crucial. The Osprey can transport security teams, equipment, and staff to remote locations efficiently, and its ability to land in confined spaces adds to its value in these missions. In terms of technical specifications, the V-22 is powered by two Rolls-Royce AE1107C engines, which allow it to continue flying even if one engine fails. Its advanced avionics include a glass cockpit, a digital interface with multiple screens that display maps, navigation, and system status. The Osprey's flight control system is triple redundant, meaning it has multiple backups to ensure safe operation. And it has damage control features that can automatically adjust to isolate damaged areas. To help the Osprey handle a range of operations, its design includes both composite materials for durability and foldable rotors for compact storage, especially useful for shipboard operations. One challenge for the Osprey is the heat from its powerful engines, which can potentially damage the decks of ships. To address this, the Navy uses portable heat shields and has tested heat-resistant coatings on ships. These modifications ensure that the Osprey can operate safely on various naval platforms without causing excessive wear and tear on the decks. In terms of defense, the Osprey can be equipped with a machine gun on its rear ramp, providing basic self-defense during missions. Although originally explored as an option, more sophisticated weapon systems have not been broadly implemented due to the aircraft's high speed, which allows it to avoid many threats. Since entering service, the V-22 Osprey has been used in several high-profile operations, providing rapid transport for troops, medical evacuations, and supplies in conflict zones like Iraq, Afghanistan, and Libya. Its ability to take off and land almost anywhere, combined with its speed and range, has redefined military logistics and expanded possibilities for future missions. Could this tiltrotor technology be a glimpse into the future of military aviation? The United States F-35 is unlike any other fifth-generation fighter jet. Since the 1990s, this technological marvel has dominated the skies with its advanced technologies and unmatched capabilities, making it nearly unbeatable. But what really sets it apart is its remarkable ability to take off vertically. How does it achieve such impressive feats, and what makes this aircraft stand out from other fifth-generation jets? Join us as we reveal the amazing performance of the F-35, showing its incredible ability with a vertical takeoff. During the late 1990s and early 2000s, the development of the F-35 was deemed important because it introduced a new set of advanced systems that set a new standard in combat aircraft design. As part of the Joint Strike Fighter program, the F-35 was created to meet the specific needs of both the Navy and Air Force. Several international partners, including the United States, Italy, Denmark, Norway, and the Netherlands, were involved in the program. In the late 1990s, both Lockheed Martin and Boeing competed with their concept demonstrators, with Lockheed ultimately winning, leading to the development of a technological marvel, the F-35, the Lockheed Martin F-35. Lightning II is an American fighter jet with one seat and one engine, built for high speed and stealth missions. This aircraft is very unique because it can handle different roles, like air combat, striking ground targets, electronic warfare, and gathering intelligence. This aircraft is designed to reach exceptional speeds of Mach 1.6, or 1.6 times the speed of sound, even while carrying a full internal payload. With almost twice the internal fuel capacity of the F-16 Fighting Falcon, the F-35 has an extended combat radius. Due to its advanced weaponry, it is heavier than earlier lightweight fighters, with the lightest variant weighing over 29,000 pounds when empty. It comes in three versions: the conventional takeoff and landing F-35A, the short takeoff and vertical landing F-35B, and the carrier-based F-35C. One of the most significant upgrades in the F-35 is its advanced technology. Built using lessons from the F-22 Raptor, it features sophisticated sensors and avionics. Its open architecture allows for continuous updates and improvements over time. Amidst its mind-blowing features, this aircraft stands out for its ability to take off and land vertically. This unique feature allows it to operate from diverse locations like aircraft carriers, small airfields, and even urban areas, making it highly adaptable. The F-35 ability to take off and land vertically relies on its powerful engine and a special lift fan. Located at the rear, this lift fan is powered by the same engine that propels the aircraft forward. When activated, the fan pushes air downwards, generating enough lift to allow vertical takeoff. Here's how it works. The pilot activates the lift fan, which directs air downward to create an upward force. This, combined with the engine's thrust, lifts the aircraft vertically. Once it's airborne, the pilot shifts from vertical to horizontal flight. This vertical takeoff capability offers many advantages. The F-35 can launch from a wide range of locations, including small airfields and aircraft carriers, giving it great operational flexibility. It also doesn't need a long runway, reducing the need for infrastructure. Additionally, it can operate in remote or dangerous areas, making it harder for enemies to target. While this capability is quite impressive, this aircraft's design is also intriguing. Let's explore the features of this fight generation masterpiece. Stealth is a huge part of the F-35 design. To stay hidden from its enemies, the jet's body is carefully shaped, with smooth curves and aligned edges to deflect radar waves, and it's coated with radar-absorbent materials. Its unique air intake design, called the diverterless supersonic inlet, keeps the engine hidden from radar while letting air in efficiently. This stealth setup makes the F-35 appear as small as a golf ball on radar at certain angles, and can sometimes even rival the stealth of the F-22. The aircraft also uses special coatings that are more durable than older stealth jets, meaning they need less upkeep. It has reduced infrared and visual signatures and tightly controls radio signals to avoid detection. The F-35 is primarily stealthy against high-frequency radar, though low-frequency radars can still detect it. But those are less precise and easier to spot. This technological marvel can also attach special reflectors to make itself visible when needed. However, there is one area where the F-35 falls short: its noise. At bases in places like Arizona and Florida, the sound has raised concerns. While its noise level is similar to older jets like the F-16, the F-35 lower frequency rumble is more noticeable. Some studies suggest its noise isn't much louder than the F-16 or F/A-18, but the deeper vibrations are easier to feel, making it stand out more. Despite this, the F-35 mission systems are among its most impressive features, showcasing cutting-edge technology that greatly enhances its performance. Bringing together a complex mix of sensors and software, these systems provide pilots with a powerful edge in battle. From radar to electronic warfare and advanced targeting cameras, every component works seamlessly to offer a complete view of the battlefield, boosting the pilot's awareness and ability to control missions in high-tech, networked warfare. The software behind this is huge, with over 8 million lines of code. Using common parts helps make updates easier and more affordable across the fleet. This high-level software, especially the parts that merge data from different sensors, took time to develop and caused some delays in the F-35 program. The F-35's radar and sensor systems are packed with advanced tech to help pilots see and respond to threats quickly and accurately. The APG-81 radar can track multiple targets over 150 kilometers away and is angled for stealth. Working with it is the AAQ-37 DAS, which uses 6 infrared sensors to give a full 360-degree view, alerting the pilot to incoming missiles and providing infrared night vision directly to their helmet. The ASQ-239 Barracuda electronic warfare system adds even more defense, with 10 antennas around the jet for warning and jamming enemy radars. This system also helps pilots pinpoint threats and deploy countermeasures. The AAQ-40 EOTS under the jet's nose enables laser targeting and long-range infrared tracking, while the ASQ-242 CNI suite allows the F-35 to send information to other planes without compromising stealth. The F-35 is built to upgrade over time, with improvements like the upcoming Technology Refresh 3, which adds a faster processor and better display. Future upgrades include a new radar, the APG-85, and possibly an advanced EOTS. The F-35 could even direct unmanned drones in the future, coordinating attacks using its advanced sensors and communications. Let's move on to where the action is: the cockpit. The F-35 cockpit is designed to keep the pilot fully aware and in control. It features a large 20 by 8-inch touchscreen display showing flight data, weapons, communications, and alerts, which the pilot can arrange to their preference. A smaller screen below acts as a backup. Instead of a traditional head-up display, important flight and combat info appears on the pilot's helmet visor. The cockpit includes voice control, a one-piece tinted canopy with a strong internal frame, and a Martin Baker ejection seat with a twin catapult system for emergencies. The F-35 has a side stick and throttle setup, and for life support, it has an onboard oxygen generation system powered by the jet's main power system, with extra oxygen available for emergencies. The helmet display is a standout feature, putting crucial flight and combat info right on the pilot's visor so they can see it no matter where they're looking. This helmet, called the HMDS, even shows infrared and night vision images, letting the pilot see through the jet itself. With the HMDS, pilots can target and fire missiles at objects without needing to face directly toward them. Each helmet costs a hefty $400,000 and is a bit heavier than standard helmets, which raises safety concerns for lighter pilots during ejection. The helmet's early versions had issues like shaking, blurry vision, and night vision problems. To address this, Lockheed Martin and Elbit considered a backup helmet, working with BAE Systems to develop one in 2011. However, after improvements to the HMDS, the backup plan was dropped in 2013. By 2016, a Gen 3 version of the helmet was introduced with better night vision, clearer displays, auto alignment, and software upgrades. To keep its stealthy shape, the F-35 stores weapons inside 2 internal bays, each with 2 stations. The outer stations can hold larger weapons, up to 2,500 pounds for most versions, or 1,500 pounds for the F-35B. These stations can carry powerful bombs and missiles like JDAMs, paveway bombs, and joint standoff weapons. They can also hold several smaller bombs, like the GBU-39 small-diameter bomb, with up to 4 per station for the F-35A and F-35C, and 3 for the F-35B. The inner stations are for air-to-air missiles, like the AIM-120 AMRAAM, and in the future, the AIM-260 JATMR. As of October 2023, the F-35A can also carry the B-61 Mod 12 nuclear bomb. Behind the weapon bays, the F-35 has compartments for countermeasures like flares, chaff, and decoys, adding extra protection during missions. When the F-35 doesn't need stealth, it can carry more weapons on 6 external stations. The wingtip pylons each hold an AIM-9X or AIM-132 ASRAAM missile, angled to keep the aircraft's radar profile low. Each wing also has larger stations that can carry heavier air-to-surface missiles, like the AGM-158 JSSM and LRASO cruise missiles. With internal and external stations, the F-35 can load up to 8 AIM-120 air-to-air missiles and 2 AIM-9s, or a combination of bombs and missiles for ground and air targets. The F-35A has a 25mm GAU-22/A rotary cannon inside the left wing root, ideal for ground targets and more powerful than other USAF fighter guns. The F-35B and F-35C versions use a special multi-mission pod for the gun, which can also carry equipment for different roles like electronic warfare and reconnaissance. Future upgrades are underway. A sidekick rack will boost the internal missile capacity, and new Block 4 improvements will let the F-35B carry more bombs. The aircraft may also integrate new weapons like the AGM-88G AAR-GMER, hypersonic missiles, and even laser weapons. The USAF plans for the F-35A to handle close air support missions, especially in tough contested areas. Despite some critics saying it's not as good as a specialized attack plane, USAF Chief Mark Welsh emphasized the need for effective weapons in CAS roles. This includes guided rockets, fragmentation rockets that break into many small projectiles before hitting, and smaller ammo for gun pods with higher capacity. Fragmentation rockets are particularly powerful, delivering a 1,000-round burst that creates more impact than a traditional strafing run. The F-35 is powered by a single Pratt & Whitney F135 low-bypass augmented turbofan engine. It produces 28,000 pounds of thrust at military power and 43,000 pounds with the afterburner engaged. The F135 is based on the F-22's F119 engine, but features a larger fan and higher bypass ratio, improving subsonic thrust and fuel efficiency. Unlike the F-119, the F-135 is not designed for supercruise. A key feature of the F-135 is its stealthy afterburner, which incorporates special fuel injectors and curved vanes covered in ceramic radar-absorbing materials. These features help hide the turbine from enemy detection. During its early development, the afterburner experienced issues with pressure pulsations, or screech, at low altitudes and high speeds. The engine's low observable nozzle has 15 partially overlapping flaps that create a sawtooth pattern at the trailing edge. This design reduces the aircraft's radar signature and also creates vortices that lower the infrared signature of the exhaust plume. Due to the engine's large size, the U.S. Navy had to adjust its underway replenishment system to ensure the F-35 could be supported during at-sea logistics. The F-35 integrated power package combines multiple systems into one, handling power and thermal management, as well as the environment control, auxiliary power unit, engine starting, and other essential functions. The F-135 PW600 engine for the F-35B includes a shaft-driven lift fan that enables the aircraft to take off and land vertically. This system, developed by Lockheed Martin and Rolls-Royce, includes the lift fan, a drive shaft, 2 roll posts, and a unique 3-bearing swivel module, or the 3BSM. The 3BSM nozzle has 3 bearings shaped like a short cylinder, and as the motor spins the edges, the nozzle swivels from a straight line to a perpendicular position. This allows the engine's exhaust to be directed downward at the rear of the plane, providing vertical thrust. The nozzle is moved by a fuel-hydraulic actuator, which uses pressurized fuel for movement. Unlike the Harrier, which relies entirely on engine thrust for lift, the F-35B combines the nozzle's thrust with the lift fan. The fan is powered by the engine's low-pressure turbine through a drive shaft and is located near the front of the plane to balance out the force from the nozzle. For roll control during slow flight, the F-35B uses roll posts mounted on the wings that direct engine bypass air to help steer the plane. In the 1990s and 2000, an alternative engine for the F-35, the General Electric/Allison/Rolls-Royce F-136 was being developed. The F-136 was based on the General Electric YF-120 engine and was said to have a higher temperature tolerance than the F-135 due to its design, which made better use of the engine's airflow. However, the F-136 project was canceled in December 2011 due to a lack of funding. The F-35 is expected to receive engine upgrades over time to meet new threats and improve performance. In 2016, the Adaptive Engine Transition Program was launched to explore adaptive cycle engines with the goal of re-engineering the F-35. By 2016, both General Electric and Pratt & Whitney received contracts to develop 45,000-pound forced thrust engines, called XA100 and XA101. While these new engines could potentially replace the F-35 current engine, Pratt & Whitney is also improving the F-135 with the engine core upgrade, which enhances thrust, fuel efficiency, and cooling capacity by 5% and 50% respectively to support future upgrades. In 2023, the USAF chose the F-135 ECU over the AETP engines due to concerns about the cost and risks of the XA100, even though it could have entered service by 2027. One thing that gives the aircraft an edge over other airfighters is that it is designed to be easier to maintain than older stealth aircraft. About 95% of the parts that can be replaced in the field are accessible with just one step, meaning nothing else needs to be taken out to reach the part. For example, the ejection seat can be replaced without having to remove the canopy. The F-35 also uses a radar-absorbing material that is stronger, easier to handle, and dries faster than older coatings. This new material could be used on other stealth aircraft, like the F-22, to help improve durability. The F-35 skin is designed to reduce corrosion, using better filler and drainage than the F-22. The flight control system is powered by electro-hydrostatic actuators instead of traditional hydraulic systems, and lithium-ion batteries can take over in emergencies. The USMC's first aircraft maintenance field training detachment used the lessons from the USAF to improve their F-35 operations by taking advantage of the common features across all variants. The F-35 was originally supported by a system called Alice, which was meant to track parts and allow any F-35 to be serviced anywhere. However, Alice faced many problems, like unreliable diagnoses and security issues. As a result, it's being replaced by Odin, a more efficient, cloud-based system. Odin started replacing Alice at various military bases in 2020, and by 2022, multiple sites had transitioned to Odin. The new system performs twice as well as Alice, offering improved reliability and efficiency. While the F-35 Lightning II is still considered one of the most powerful fighters in the world, The U.S. Air Force is already planning ahead with its next-generation air dominance program. Although there's no exact definition for fifth-generation aircraft, experts agree that stealth is a key feature. While the F-35 is expected to remain a dominant force in the skies for many years, the U.S. Air Force is already focusing on its next-generation strategy. First envisioned in 2014, the NGAD Next Generation Air Dominance Program aims to ensure continued air superiority. The fighter's design will center on 5 key technologies: advanced weapons, stealth, digital design, propulsion, and thermal management. Although the exact definition of 6th-generation technology is still unclear, the features that would be included in the NGAD program are expected to surpass the capabilities of current 5th-generation fighters. One of the most significant changes will be the integration of artificial intelligence and unmanned aerial vehicles into the NGAD. These unmanned systems are expected to work alongside a 6th-generation fighter jet, creating a more dynamic and flexible combat force. In fact, the United States Air Force is moving away from the traditional idea that a fighter jet must always be a single crewed aircraft. This shift in thinking is also being explored in Beijing, where China is looking into similar concepts. Although the United States was the first to introduce a 5th-generation fighter, it may not be the first to deploy a 6th-generation successor in the skies. The Air Force has revealed that demonstrator NGAD aircraft are already taking to the skies, and a contract for its official development could be awarded within the next year. As reported by Breaking Defense, the Department of the Air Force issued a classified solicitation to industry for an engineering and manufacturing development contract for the next-generation air dominance platform, with plans to award the contract in 2024. Given the current security threats, launching the military's next-generation fighter program is crucial for maintaining America's air superiority. The United States has once again demonstrated its dominance in the skies with an aircraft that seems almost too advanced to be real. This fighter, the MH-6, boasts stealth capabilities and incredible speed that have left the world stunned. But that's not all. With an unmatched reconnaissance power, MH-6 is now set to take on new roles that could redefine aerial warfare. The world is about to witness technology at its peak. What roles is this aircraft about to take on, and how would it affect the global balance of power? Join us as we unveil the mystery behind the recently revealed next-generation tiny helicopter that the U.S. has prepared for battle. Major world powers have always competed to dominate the skies with the latest military technology, investing billions of dollars into the creation of advanced weapons. However, only one country has continuously ruled in that aspect: the United States. In the past, helicopters like the UH-60 Black Hawk were famous for their speed and ability to fly high. But now stealth is the big goal, and the U.S. is also leading the way. The United States recently unveiled a technological marvel that is even more sophisticated than the UH-60 Black Hawk, the MH-6 Little Bird, also known as the Killer Egg. This small, powerful helicopter is perfect for U.S. Special Forces because it's easy to maneuver and can sneak in and out of tough areas quickly. The MH-6 combines stealth and speed, making it one of the most advanced tools in the U.S. military today. Originally modeled after the OH-6A aircraft, these tiny helicopters were later remodeled and based on the MD-500E, this time with a single 5-bladed needle. The development of the OH-6 started in 1960. Then the U.S. Army issued Technical Specification 153 for a light observation helicopter that would perform a host of functions, including personnel transport, escort and attack missions, casualty evacuation, and observation. The race for the development began with 12 companies taking part in the competition. Hughes Aircraft Company Aircraft Division submitted the Model 369. Initially, 2 designs, those submitted by Fairchild Hiller and Bell, were selected as finalists by the Army-Navy Design Competition Board. But the Army would later on include a hand helicopter from Hugh A. Sixel. The first Model 369 prototype 4.6, February 27, N.7.he 5-inch, the model, originally designated the YH-06A under the College Designation System, was later redesignated the Yo-H-6A under the Department of Defense's new Joint System in 1962. There were 5 prototypes built, each fitted with a 2-ship Allison T-63A engine, assigned to the U.S. Army at Fort Novasil, Alabama. The idea behind it was to have the aircraft compete against the AH-6 prototype aircraft submitted by Bell and Fairchild Hiller. In the end, Hughes won the competition, and the contract for production was awarded to Hughes by the Army in May. The initial order was for 714 aircraft, but that number was later increased to 1,300 aircraft, with an option to buy another 114. 70 helicopters were built in the first month. This agile, unarmed helicopter is outfitted with outboard benches designed to ferry up to 3 operators on each side, painted black for nighttime operations. This small aircraft can conduct rapid insertions and extractions of Special Operations Forces into areas its larger counterpart, the MH-60 Black Hawk, can't infiltrate. But something that would change the entire dynamics of aircraft occurred: the failure of 1980. After the April 1980 failure of Operation Eagle Claw, in which Marine pilots and Navy helicopters were used, it was determined that the U.S. Army was deficient in some areas. It lacked aircraft and crews who were trained and prepared to perform special operations missions. In a bid to quickly remedy this shortcoming, the Army began developing a special aviation task force to prepare for the next attempt to rescue the hostages, Operation Credible Sport. The stealth aircraft was deployed in some missions. The United States Army 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment, also known as Night Stalkers, is a special operations force that provides helicopter aviation support for general-purpose forces and also special operations forces. Re-emphasize the multi-purpose use of the stealth aircraft. Its missions have included attack, assault, and reconnaissance, and are usually conducted at night, at high speeds, low altitudes, and on short notice. The architects of the task force identified the need for a small helicopter that could land in the most restrictive locations and could be easily transported on Air Force airlifters. For this purpose, they chose the OH-6A Scout helicopter and gave it its nickname, the Little Bird, because of its size when compared to the other aircraft in the task force, the UH-60A and the CH-47C. As a separate part of the project, armed OH-6As were being developed at Fort Novasil, Alabama. The pilots selected to fly the OH-6A helicopters came from the 229th Attack Helicopter Battalion and were sent to the Mississippi Army National Guard's Army Aviation Support Facility at Gulfport, Mississippi, for 2 weeks of qualification training in the aircraft. This meant to ensure that they were well trained in flying the aircraft. When the training was completed, C-141 aircraft were used in the transportation of the aircraft and the crews to Fort Huachuca, Arizona, for 2 weeks of mission training. The Little Bird was originally designed as a scout helicopter for Army armored units. But since the early 1980s, it has been used almost exclusively by the special operations community. It has an unrefueled range of 250 nautical miles. The AH-6 Little Bird gun, a light attack helicopter, has been tested and proven in combat. Armed with guns, Hellfire missiles, and 2.75-inch FFR, it provides armed helicopter support to both ground and air special operations. The unrefueled range of the AH-6 is 250 nautical miles. These versions were all powered by a single Allison T-63 252 SHP engine. The MH-6 Little Bird made its way into popular culture with the book and movie Black Hawk Down, which portrayed MH-6 Little Birds carrying Delta Force soldiers into the overrun city of Mogadishu. The Little Birds, along with MH-60 Black Hawks from the 160th SOAR, held off attackers and supported Rangers and Delta operators when their raid was ambushed by insurgents. The OH-6S of 160th SOAR saw overt combat action for the first time in Grenada during Operation Urgent Fury on October 25, 1883, and the power of the Little Bird was put on display. On that fateful day, 6 MH-6 and 2 AH-6 were flown to the eastern Caribbean island from Pope Air Force Base in North Carolina in the bellies of 4 Air Force C-130s. In addition to the helicopter air crews, the aircraft also carried a company of U.S. Army Rangers and a Delta Force squadron, units that were also part of the American Assault Forces. By the time the aircraft arrived over the island, other Rangers, flying separately from the U.S., had parachuted onto a nearly finished runway on the island's southwestern coast. When the airdrop Rangers secured the runway, the 4 C-130s landed and Unishows added. The 2 AH-6 set off for the capital city of St. George's to attack Fort Rupert, the permanent Grenadian military headquarters. The Little Birds found air defenses around the capital to be too formidable, and they returned to the airport within 10 minutes. The return of the Little Birds sparked some rumors, which apparently gave rise to later wrongly published speculation that an OH-6 was shot dead on D-Day. 2008 to 2014, the Ranger, Delta Force on Fort Rupert, also known as Fort George, was canceled because of the stiff anti-aircraft resistance in 2012. But that did not stop it from participating in other tasks, as it did participate in other unscripted support tasks, including transporting wounded servicemen to medical facilities on Navy ships offshore and a search and rescue mission to a Black Hawk helicopter crash site. None of these aircraft were listed in the public inventory of the U.S. military at the time. Their existence was kept a secret from the world and the general public. The existence of the Secret Aviation Unit became widely known in the aftermath of the invasion, as OH-6 helicopters were photographed and filmed in action by civilian onlookers. The CIA also deployed 2 highly modified Hughes 500D helicopters to nearby Barbados in advance of the 20-minute aircraft offered to the Pena's invasion commanders by the CIA for clandestine reconnaissance purposes. 40-50 were not used by the military over Grenada during Urgent Fury. MH-6 were based in Palmarola Air Base, Honduras, and flew missions into Nicaragua. The unit members wore civilian clothes, flew by night, and were intended to destroy their aircraft if they were forced down. Later versions are based on the successful Boeing MD-500 and MD-530 series helicopters. The latest versions of these aircraft, the AH-Secantor and MH-6J insertion and extraction transport based on the MD-530F, feature a more powerful engine and improved avionics, including an embedded GPS inertial navigation system and forward-looking infrared. The AH-6J can be armed with 2 7-tube, 2.75-inch rocket launchers and 2 7.2mm 134 miniguns. The Little Bird can also be armed with .50 cal machine guns, MK-1940 MMM grenade machine guns, Hellfire missiles, and air-to-air Stinger missiles. On July 24, 1987, a Kuwaiti oil tanker, reflagged as Bridgerton and escorted by U.S. Navy warships, struck a mine in the Persian Gulf. This quickly made it apparent that they would be needing more than escort ships to guard merchant ships. The MH-6 would be called into action once again. The U.S. military deployed the MH-6 and AH-6 aircraft from the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment, SOAR, to provide surveillance and patrols in cooperation with other U.S. Special Operations units in Operation Prime Chance. To escort the merchant ships, 2 MH-6 and 4 AH-6 aircraft were initially deployed and designated as Detachment 160 Aviation Group. The MH-6 aircraft went ahead and carried forward-looking infrared and a videotape system, which gave them excellent ability to detect and identify targets. Then direct the armed AH-6. The AH-6 helicopters were armed with 7.62 miniguns and 2.75-inch rockets. Initially, the aircraft patrolled in teams called Seabat that waited for U.S. Navy SH-2s to direct them to the targets. Later, to preserve the aircraft and crews from fatigue and wear, the Seabat teams remained on the ship's deck until a contact was identified. At 10 midnight on September 21, 1987, the captain of USS Jarrett launched a Seabat team, which included an MH-6 and 2 AH-6, to check out reports of Iranian mine-laying. The team found Iran Ager, an amphibious landing ship equipped with mine-laying racks. The MH-6 confirmed that Iran Ager was laying mines. The AH-6 opened fire, causing the crew to abandon ship. And just when people thought the MH-6 couldn't get any better, it does. Just when people thought there couldn't possibly be more capabilities to bolt onto a massively versatile platform as compact and agile as the MH-6 Little Bird, U.S. Special Operations Command brought one out of the hat. While we've seen machine guns aboard Little Bird's attack variant, the AH-6, the addition of designated mounts atop the MH-6 personnel planks ensures that the helicopter can still pack a punch while carrying special operators to and from hard-to-access places. During 22's Special Operations Forces Industry Conference SOFIC capability demonstration, the MH-6 machine gun mount made what could be its first clear and official debut above industry and community onlookers. Throughout the demo, the 160th Special Operations Air Regiment, SOAR, better known as the Night Stalkers, put what has been lovingly nicknamed the Killer Egg into action over Tampa Bay. The incredible amount of maneuverability that these pint-sized helos offer makes them a perfect fit for the Night Stalkers and their insertion and extraction-heavy special ops exercises and missions. On top of the MH-6 typical mission of inserting and extracting special ops assault teams, Little Birds have also been known to transport sniper teams from time to time. Therefore, having the opportunity to mount a fixed machine gun to the personnel plank could allow them the chance to provide additional fire support, all within a relatively petite package. The U.S. Special Operations Command announced that the organization will continue to deeply upgrade the type for years to come. But that's not all. The Army's surprise decision earlier this year to cancel the Future Attack Reconnaissance Aircraft (FARA) program has breathed new life into Boeing's MH-6 Little Bird and for special operators, with one Special Operations Command SOCOM official describing an ongoing enhancement as tantamount to a resurrection. The Block 3 upgrade in process for the Little Bird designates the chopper as the MH-6R. But following the end of FARA, R is not a Romeo, said Stephen Smith, SOCOM's Rotary Wing Program Executive Officer, at the SOF Week conference here in Tampa in 24. It's the future for Little Bird. SOCOM had previously planned for FARA to take the role of the AH-6, but the program's cancellation changed their equation. Smith explained the R upgrade effort incorporates a new fuselage that boosts the Little Bird's design limit to 5,000 pounds. The overhaul further includes new equipment like a smaller mission computer and interfaces for next-gen communications. Smith said the overarching effort should carry on through the 21 to 23-2 timeframe. According to Smith, that is about a 15-year life that they have predicted on that fuselage. I think that gives us a little bit of time to allow the Army to figure out what it's going to do for its scout requirement. So FARA has been canceled, but the requirement itself to have something that can see, sense, and fix adversaries over the horizon still exists. And so whether that's going to be unmanned systems or some sort of manned-unmanned teaming, there will be time to figure that out. And then incremental changes will be made along the way. The FARA cancellation isn't the only aviation fallout from the Army's rotorcraft shakeup. Smith said SOCOM is also feeling the effects of the Army's decision to delay production of the Improved Turbine Engine Program, ITEP. The command was expecting to incorporate ITEP for its specialized MH-60M Black Hawk helicopters made by Lockheed Martin subsidiary Sikorsky. Even though platforms like the Black Hawk may now have to stick around until the 2050 or longer, Smith still emphasized the value of the Army's larger Future Vertical Lift (FVL) effort that encompasses other elements, like the in-development Future Long-Range Assault Aircraft. Specifically, Smith described the value of the FVL ecosystem, which, according to him, SOCOM was counting on for new improvements like a modular open system architecture that can help foster goals like a common Army helicopter cockpit. That feature is expected for future aircraft. And though SOCOM would like it for legacy platforms, Command is not yet sure how that would work. The Command has many ambitions, but a tight budget limits what's realistic. One thing is certain, SOCOM cannot do this alone. A look at the percentage of the SOCOM budget compared to the overall national defense budget shows it is quite small. So investment is needed in the right technologies to field fully operational capabilities. Another aircraft that is worth touching on is also the AH-6. The Boeing AH-6 is a series of light helicopter gunships modeled after the MH-6 Little Bird and MD-500 family. The unmanned Little Bird demonstrator, which Boeing developed from a civilian MD-534F, first flew on September 8, 2004. The aircraft also made its first autonomous flight on October 16, 2004. In April 2006, Boeing used the ULB to demonstrate the ability of another helicopter, in this case an AH-64 Apache, to remotely control the ULB's weapons payload as a part of Boeing's Airborne Manned and Unmanned System Technology Demonstration Program. For the first test, the Apache Longbow was on the ground while the ULB was airborne several miles away, and Hellfire missiles were fired from the ULB by a tester sitting at the co-pilot station in the Apache. Both aircraft are equipped with tactical common data link equipment and technologies manufactured by L3 Communications. The ULB demonstrator first flew in unmanned mode on June 30, 2006, from the United States Army's Yuma Proving Ground, flying a pre-programmed 20-minute armed intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance mission around the facility. All former flights during the 50-hour engineering development phase had a safety pilot on board, although the aircraft was flown on the ground. With the MH-6, one thing is certain: improvements will only continue to be made. This aircraft that focuses on stealth, speed, and agility is the epitome of not only war, but of the creative genius of the human mind. The ability of the human mind to conceive of an aircraft that is not only built for infiltration, but now has the ability to unleash some of the deadliest attacks is nothing short of fascinating. The sky will never be the same again. The US has once again made that certain. What is left to be seen is how the other countries would react to being left behind once again by the world's foremost superpower. Would we witness a potential arms race? Or have the US conquered the sky again, as they did in times past? It remains to be seen. The United States is about to shock the world with a brand new technology. This aviation marvel, the MQ-25 Stingray, is the first unmanned aircraft in history to ever refuel other aircraft. This drone is built to evade enemy radar and revolutionize aerial refueling. But that's not all. It can be launched from aircraft carriers, extending the reach of United States naval operations like never before. What are the features of this aircraft that made it different from other aircraft? What are the primary missions of the MQ-25 Stingray in naval operations? Join us as we unveil the features of MQ-25 and the development over the years. Unmanned aerial vehicles have transformed military operations worldwide, playing important roles in both reconnaissance and combat. These advanced technologies allow for real-time monitoring of conflict zones without risking pilot lives. UAVs are versatile, with some designed for surveillance and others for offensive missions, and they vary in range and endurance, making them adaptable to diverse mission requirements. It's no secret that American technologies occupy a leading position among the world's manufacturers, and today there's a list of the 10 best American unmanned aerial vehicles: MQ-1DC Gray Eagle, RQ-4 Global Hawk, MQ-4C Triton, RQ-7 Shadow, MQ-8B Fire Scout, MQ-9 Reaper, CQ-10 Snow Goose, RQ-11 Raven, RQ-12 Wasp, and RQ-20 Puma, while MQ-25 Stingray and Horse A are still in development. Unmanned aircraft systems are becoming more and more important in the military at previously unheard-of rates. Over 100,000 flight hours were completed in 2005 by unmanned aircraft operating at the tactical and theater levels in support of Operation Enduring Freedom and Operation Iraqi Freedom, which were coordinated by Task Force in Iraq and Task Force Liberty in Afghanistan. Rapid technological advancements allowed the United States to deploy increasingly more capabilities on smaller airframes during the missions in Iraq and Afghanistan. The number of unmanned systems deployed on the battlefield has increased significantly since the United States withdrew from the Middle East and Central Asia, and this trend has persisted throughout both conflicts. Armed unmanned aerial vehicles were first employed in 2001 when the Central Intelligence Agency's MQ-1 Predator was used to deliver anti-tank missiles into Afghanistan. Although there are claims that millions of unmanned aerial vehicle flight hours have now been recorded, and this started in 2006. The United States continues to fund research and development for unmanned systems of all kinds, which results in advancements that allow them to carry out a wide range of tasks. While intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance missions continue to be the principal functions of unmanned aerial vehicles, they are no longer the only ones they carry out. Their responsibilities have grown to encompass combat search and rescue, network node or communications relay, drone strikes, electronic attack, suppression or destruction of enemy air defense, and variations on these themes. With aircraft weighing less than 1 pound to more than 40,000 pounds, the cost of these unmanned systems varies from a few $1,000s to tens of millions of dollars. The Navy started looking for an aircraft carrier-based unmanned aerial vehicle in 2006, and that was when the idea on the MQ-25 Stingray got underway. In order to breach enemy defenses and launch its armaments covertly, the Navy desired a stealth drone. The Navy diminished the drone strike capabilities in favor of information, surveillance, and reconnaissance after 6 years of effort, changing the parameters. After so many years of going back and forth regarding the capabilities of the drone being able to specialize in surveillance or delivering weapons, it was decided in 2016 that MQ-25 would be an aerial refueling drone that would be the same size as F/A-18F Super Hornet. It was agreed that MQ-25 offers enhanced flexibility for naval forces. It is also cost-effective because the adoption of unmanned systems and using unmanned systems reduces risk to human pilots. This drone is the best to use in high-risk operations because it can be deployed in dangerous situations, protecting the pilots from exposure during fuel transfer or reconnaissance operations. The Stingray symbolizes innovation in global naval aviation capabilities, designed with adaptability in mind. The use of airborne refueling decreases the time aircraft spend on the deck of the carrier, allowing for quicker turnaround and increased sortie rates. The MQ-25 Stingray has two main segments, which are the air vehicle segment and the ground segment. The actual drone structure and its features, such as design and configuration, make up the air vehicle section. The MQ-25's aerodynamic, streamlined design is tailored for carrier operations. It can perform well in flight because of its wingspan of about 75 feet and resemblance to traditional fighter aircraft. By serving as a mobile filling station in the sky, the MQ-25's substantial fuel capacity allows it to increase the range of carrier-based aircraft. In order to support intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance tasks, it can also hold a variety of sensors and payloads. Because of its turbofan engine, the UAV can travel at speeds that are on par with those of other carrier-based aircraft. With a fighting radius that can go well beyond the carrier's own, it can support a variety of missions with flexibility. The MQ-25 can carry out missions with little assistance from humans because it is built for autonomous operations. It can maneuver, avoid obstacles, and accomplish complex tasks in tandem with other assets thanks to its sophisticated avionics and software. The drone is designed to work in unison with the launch and recovery technologies already in place at carriers. This guarantees that it may be successfully launched from aircraft carriers without requiring significant adjustments to the operations of the current carrier strike group. The ground control stations and other systems used to operate and control the MQ-25 when it is not in flight are included in the ground segment. The unmanned aerial vehicle is launched, tracked, and managed by operators via ground control stations. These stations' intuitive user interfaces enable mission planning and real-time data processing. Secure speech and data links between the unmanned aerial vehicle and the operators on the ground or in the carrier are made possible by the MQ-25's advanced communication equipment. This makes it possible to continuously assess the situation and modify the mission. Pre-flight inspections, post-mission analysis, and maintenance logistical support are all included in the ground segment. The MQ-25 can be deployed rapidly and put back into service with little downtime thanks to effective logistics. Advanced software tools facilitate the analysis of data gathered during flights and aid in mission planning. For improving upcoming missions and honing strategies, this information may be essential. Through unmanned refueling and support missions, the MQ-25 Stingray greatly improves the operational capabilities of aircraft carriers by fusing these two elements into a flexible and potent tool for contemporary naval warfare. Boeing provided visuals of its first pre-production example of the MQ-25 Stingray tanker drone, and up to this point, the MQ-25 demonstrator has been the public face of the Stingray program. To design an aircraft focused on information, surveillance, and reconnaissance that could be rapidly produced to carry out low-intensity counterterrorism missions, lethality and strike criteria were relaxed in 2012. Additionally, it solves the carrier's requirement for an organic refueling aircraft, which has been suggested for the unmanned carrier-launched airborne surveillance and strike since 2014. This would allow the 20 to 30% of Super Hornets to complete the mission more effectively and economically than modifying the F-35, V-22 Osprey, and E-2D Hawkeye, or bringing the retired S-3 Viking back into service. A formal request for proposal was anticipated in 2017, 4 development contracts were awarded in 2016, and operational status was anticipated in the early to mid-20s. In July 2016, it was officially named MQ-25 Stingray after being named RAC-25 previously. According to Michael Manazir, the MQ-25 can increase the Super Hornet's unrefined combat radius from 450 nautical miles to more than 700 nautical miles. With a range of 500 nautical miles, the Navy wants the aircraft to be able to transport 15,000 pounds, 6,800 kilograms, of fuel to 4 or 6 aircraft. In October of 2017, Lockheed Martin, Boeing, Northrop Grumman, and General Atomics received the Navy's final request for proposals for the MQ-25 Stingray. When the unmanned carrier-launched airborne surveillance program was put on hold in 2017, Boeing completed the construction of its wing-body tail covertly and resurrected it for the community-based agricultural research and development mission. Boeing's prototype aircraft entrant, which included insights from its various unmanned aerial systems and the Boeing Phantom Ray flying wing, was unveiled on December 19, 2017. Although Boeing claims that this was taken into account when designing the MQ-25, the aircraft's design is not new for the tanking mission. This company prioritizes adaptability and cutting-edge technology in the design of the MQ-25 Stingray. The aircraft is a stealth drone that can refuel in the air and is based on a carrier. Boeing wanted to use its vast knowledge of manned and unmanned systems. The contender has been put through a rigorous testing process, which includes successful flight tests showing that it can refuel a variety of naval aircraft. The RQ-170 Sentinel, a concept that Lockheed Martin first suggested, has a track record of success in reconnaissance missions. Their strategy was centered on enhanced sensor capabilities and stealth. Strategy, with a focus on intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance capabilities, the business aimed to incorporate technology that may improve carrier group's operational performance. Building on its experience with the X-47B, a prior unmanned carrier operations demonstration, Northrop Grumman unveiled a variation. Their design sought to optimize payload capacity and operational range. Northrop Grumman's solution was unique in that it demonstrated advances in UAV technology by integrating autonomous elements for carrier operations. General Atomics, which is well known for the Predator and Reaper drones, wanted to contribute its wealth of unmanned aircraft expertise to the competition. Their design placed a strong emphasis on combining refueling duties with strike capability. Their main aim was to create a flexible platform that could fulfill several functions within a carrier strike group. The United States Navy assessed bids according to a number of factors, including cost, operating experience, technical skills, and the possibility of quick deployment. The United States Navy declared Boeing the winner of the competition on August 30, 2018, and gave the company a $805 million development contract for 4 MQ-25, an aircraft which is expected to be finished by August 2024. Their creative strategy and solid track record in aeronautical technologies had a role in the decision. The Navy hopes to lower operating costs and improve mission flexibility by integrating unmanned systems into carrier operations. In addition to forcing rival defense behemoths like Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, and General Atomics to innovate and improve their plans, the competition to create the MQ-25 Stingray has cemented Boeing's leadership in unmanned naval aviation. This competition highlights the significance of technological superiority in contemporary combat scenarios and represents a significant shift in naval strategy towards unmanned systems. The MQ-25 program will continue to influence military aviation dynamics and establish standards for the integration of unmanned systems in naval operations in the future. The successful deployment of the MQ-25 is anticipated to greatly expand the operational reach of naval aviators, enabling carrier-based aircraft to operate at greater distances during missions. Significant drone technology breakthroughs have resulted from this competition, forcing all businesses to quickly develop in avionics, operational integration, and unmanned flight capabilities. On April 2, 2020, 3 more test MQ-25As were ordered, bringing the total order to 7. The program might eventually total $13 billion and include 72 aircraft. Across the Mississippi River, from Boeing's technical factory at Lambert International Airport in St. Louis to Mid-America St. Louis Airport, which is connected to Scott Air Force Base, the first MQ-25 test aircraft was transported by road in late April 2019. The Federal Aviation Administration certified the aircraft and provided airspace for flight testing after taxi tests. The first flight of the MQ-25 was on September 19, 2019. Boeing published footage of the MQ-25's first flight with an externally installed Cobham aerial refueling depot in December 2020. The first refueling test was carried out on June 4, 2021, when an F/A-18 Super Hornet was fueled by the MQ-25 at Mid-America Airport in Mascoutah, Illinois. The MQ-25 was launched with assistance from Air Test and Evaluation Squadron VX-23. The two aircraft made many dry or wet contacts for over 10 minutes during the roughly 4.5-hour operation, transferring a total of 325 pounds of fuel. E-2 and F-35C were used for additional refueling experiments. During this first testing, the main goal was to show that the MQ-25 could refuel both vintage and modern aircraft, in this case the F/A-18 Super Hornet. Enhancing the United States Navy's air capabilities requires this capability since it enables carrier-based aircraft to fly farther without having to return to the carrier for fuel. Throughout the test, the MQ-25 functioned independently and effectively extended its refueling boom to deliver fuel to the F/A-18 while it was in flight. The mission demonstrated the MQ-25's sophisticated technologies, such as its sensors and algorithms, which enable precise maneuvering and reliable refueling connections. This incident established a standard for future unmanned aerial vehicle operations, as it was the first time an unmanned aircraft refueled a manned aircraft while in flight. By validating the MQ-25's design and its ability to close a significant gap in carrier air operations, this test was essential to the United States Navy's unmanned carrier aviation program. It is anticipated that integrating such unmanned technologies will improve mission capability and lessen the burden for pilots. Following the successful refueling test, additional tests were planned to assess the MQ-25's performance in various scenarios, ultimately leading to operational deployment on aircraft carriers. This event emphasizes the Navy's commitment to advancing unmanned technologies and enhancing the capabilities of its carrier air wings. The MQ-25 is also designed to conduct intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance missions, further contributing to the Navy's operational flexibility. One Rolls-Royce AE 3007 turbofan engine, which produces 10,000 pound-force of thrust, powers Boeing's MQ-25 design. This engine is a version of the one that powers the Navy's MQ-4C Triton. Compared to flying wing unmanned aerial vehicles, the aircraft is less stealthy. It does have a V-tail, flush inlet to protect engine blades from radar, and a stealthy fuselage shape. In April 2024, images of a model of MQ-25 were made public, displaying AGM-158C long-range anti-ship missiles on the underwing hardpoints. An electro-optical sensor ball beneath the nose in front of the forward landing gear was also depicted in the model. The United States Navy manages the program of record and is the system of systems required for the MQ-25 Air Vehicle Command and Control, and is critical to the unmanned aircraft refueling operations. The multi-domain combat system, the brains behind the UMCS MD-5EE ground control station, was created by Lockheed Martin's Skunk Works. Other supporting gear and equipment were also developed by the U.S. Navy. All carrier-based unmanned aircraft systems in the future Carrier Air Wing will be controlled by the Unmanned Carrier Aviation Mission Control System, which enhances capability and interoperability in conjunction with the MQ-25. The Stingray is built to function in a networked ecosystem so it can interact, exchange information, and coordinate in real time with other aerial and naval assets. During missions, this connectivity enhances command and control, resulting in more effective and efficient operations. Radio and satellite communications will be used to carry out the refueling operations. The Navy's conventional catapult launch and recovery systems will be combined with the unmanned tanker. Core Power Electronic Circuit Breaker Unit technology, which gives operators intelligent control and visibility of the onboard power systems, will be implemented in the MQ-25 Stingray. The MQ-25 can conduct prolonged operations without regular landings or refueling, because of its great range and endurance, which enable it to stay in the air for lengthy periods of time. Long-range reconnaissance and refueling operations both benefit from its endurance. The MQ-25 is an unmanned system that offers a safer option for executing risky missions while lowering the number of persons required for operations in hazardous settings. This drone is designed to be more cost-effective than traditional manned aircraft, both in terms of procurement and operational costs. This efficiency allows the Navy to allocate resources more effectively across its fleet. The MQ-25's capabilities improve interoperability across the branches by enabling combined operations with the Marine Corps, Air Force, and Allied naval forces. In summary, the MQ-25 Stingray is a highly adaptable and vital asset for the United States Navy because to its distinctive features, which include its carrier-borne design, aerial refueling capability, stealth characteristics, modular construction, cutting-edge technology, and cost-effectiveness. The Stingray differs from conventional manned and unmanned aircraft in that it can support a variety of tasks and improve the operational capability of aircraft carriers. It was created especially for aircraft carrier operations, which need a sturdy airframe that can survive challenging maritime conditions. Because of its design's folding wings, it can maneuver into a small deck area, which is essential for missions aboard Navy ships. Compared to conventional aircraft, the MQ-25 has a smaller radar cross-section, which makes it harder for adversary radar systems to identify it. Stealth technology, which is essential for functioning in contested areas where adversary detection could be fatal, is included into its design. Because of its modular architecture, the aircraft may be quickly modified to fit different mission profiles and can incorporate new payloads or technologies. This adaptability allows the system to handle a variety of actions, which is essential in a combat situation that is changing quickly. The MQ-25 has state-of-the-art sensors for data collecting, surveillance, and navigation. These capabilities greatly improve situational awareness by enabling it to provide carrier strike groups with crucial intelligence and reconnaissance. Elon Musk has finally unveiled an incredible new version of the famous Warthog. Known for its toughness and power, this aircraft just received a better upgrade that's capturing attention all over the world. Packed with advanced technology and firepower, the new Super A-10 is designed to be faster, stronger, and more unstoppable than ever. But what exactly makes this upgraded Warthog so special? And how will it change the game in air combat? Join us as we explore the upgraded features of Musk's brand new Super A-10 Warthog that's set to rule the skies. Although it might sound surprising, the idea of Elon Musk upgrading the mighty A-10 Warthog is thrilling to imagine. He hasn't officially announced plans to transform this legendary aircraft, yet just thinking about what he could do with it sparks curiosity. He is known for pushing technology to new limits. But what if Elon Musk gave the A-10 Warthog a complete modification? Let's dive into the advanced features of today's most powerful aircraft and see how a brand new Super A-10 Warthog could dominate the skies. The A-10 Thunderbolt II, known as the Warthog, has a reputation for its ruggedness and combat resilience. It's not sleek, not fancy, but it is an absolute workhorse as it is perfectly engineered for close air support. In a combat zone, when the pressure is on and ground troops need help, nothing matches the power of the Warthog. It's built like a flying tank with heavy armor and enough firepower to knock out a whole line of tanks. Designed to dominate the battlefield from above, the Warthog has carved out a unique place for itself in military aviation. The A-10 was developed by Fairchild Republic and first flew in 1972. Its main role is to provide support to ground forces, meaning its pilots need to be right there when needed. This is not an aircraft that hides at high altitudes. Instead, it dives low, facing enemy fire to protect soldiers below. With a maximum speed of about 420 miles per hour, it isn't the fastest aircraft, but its strength is brute force and resilience. In combat, its survival is legendary. This plane can take a hit and still keep going. The fuselage is lined with titanium armor, earning it the nickname the flying bathtub. The armor protects vital systems and the pilot, so even if this aircraft takes damage, it can still bring the pilot back safely. Its backup systems make sure that if one part fails, other systems take over to keep the plane running. This design makes it one of the toughest aircraft ever created, with the ability to fly back to base with extensive battle damage and missing parts, and still be ready for the next mission. One of its most striking features is its 30mm GAU-8/A Avenger cannon, which takes up nearly a third of the aircraft's length. This cannon is not just a weapon, it's the core around which the aircraft is built. Capable of firing 3,900 rounds per minute, the Avenger can easily tear apart armored vehicles and strong buildings. Each round is about the size of a bottle, carrying enough explosive power to penetrate tanks and bunkers. This cannon is a game-changer on the battlefield, as it gives the Warthog an unmatched ability to destroy targets quickly and efficiently. To balance the massive weight and recoil of the cannon, the jet engines are placed high and behind the wings. These twin General Electric TF-34GE100 engines provide 9,000 pounds of force each. They are positioned in a way that shields them from ground fire, reducing the risk of damage. The engines are also designed to keep operating in rough conditions, like sandstorms or dusty environments. They are not as powerful as those found on fighter jets, but they're incredibly reliable. This setup also makes this jet remarkably quiet for an aircraft of its size, allowing it to approach targets with less noise, adding an element of surprise. Another key part of the Warthog's design is how easily it can maneuver. While it's not as fast or agile as a fighter jet, it is built to stay low to the ground. It has large, straight wings that provide stability and control at low speeds. This design allows this jet to perform in areas where other jets might struggle, maneuvering around mountains, trees, and buildings. It can make quick passes over the battlefield, striking targets with deadly accuracy, then pull up and circle back for another attack run. This capability to stay in the fight and provide close, continuous support is invaluable to ground troops. Its wings aren't just for easy movement. They also hold a formidable arsenal of weapons. In addition to the 30mm cannon, it can carry a wide variety of armor on its 11 pylons, including bombs, missiles, and rockets. Each of these weapons serves a specific purpose, allowing it to adapt to different combat situations. Its payload can include guided bombs, cluster bombs, laser-guided missiles, and even electronic countermeasure pods. This versatility means the Warthog can take on everything from armored vehicles to infantry positions, adapting its loadout based on mission requirements. The A-10's cockpit is another key to its combat effectiveness. The pilot sits surrounded by titanium armor, with controls specifically designed for close combat. Large, easy-to-read displays provide real-time data on weapons and systems. The seat is slightly raised to give the pilot a better view of the battlefield, making it easier to spot and engage targets. With a display that shows important information right in front of them, the pilot can keep their eyes on the target while flying and fighting. In this cockpit, everything is geared toward close combat efficiency and pilot protection. This plane's radar and sensors are minimal by design. It doesn't rely on high-tech systems to find and destroy its targets. Instead, it's up to the pilot's skill and the aircraft's guns and bombs. This simplicity makes it easy to maintain and cheaper to operate than more complex jets. Maintenance crews can quickly repair and rearm it, making it ready to get back in the fight faster. It's a special method that has kept this jet important on the battlefield for many years. The Warthog has been a staple of U.S. combat operations since it was introduced in the late 1970s. It was first deployed in combat during the Gulf War, where it proved its worth time and again. Flying low and slow, A-10 pilots provide invaluable support to ground forces, taking out tanks, artillery, and even enemy helicopters. In Operation Desert Storm, this aircraft destroyed more than 900 Iraqi tanks and over 2,000 military vehicles, earning it a reputation as one of the most effective aircraft in close air support history. Since then, it has continued to see action in conflicts around the world, including Iraq and Afghanistan. Its ability to fly low and take hits, along with its cost-effectiveness, keeps it relevant even as military technology advances. For the troops on the ground, hearing the roar of the engines means help is on the way. One key reason for the Warthog's unmatched firepower is its impressive ability to handle a range of weapons. It can carry up to 16,000 pounds of additional weapons. That includes a variety of bombs, rockets, and missiles, each selected for different types of targets. Whether the mission calls for a precise strike or widespread damage, the Warthog has an answer. From laser-guided bombs that hit exact targets to rockets that cause widespread damage, the A-10's weapons are both flexible and powerful. This flexibility allows this aircraft to tackle whatever threat comes its way. The U.S. Air Force has thought about replacing the A-10 with newer planes like the F-35 and MQ-9 Reaper, which can perform some of the same tasks as the Warthog. These advanced aircraft bring fresh ideas to air combat, each with a unique approach. While the A-10 is famous for supporting ground troops, the features of the F-35 and MQ-9 have raised questions about whether they are better replacements for the A-10 Warthog. Let's dive in and see what the features of the F-35 and MQ-9 Reaper are, and if they could become the new go-to aircraft. The Lockheed Martin F-35. Lightning II is a state-of-the-art stealth fighter with a unique design aimed at giving the U.S. and its allies unmatched air power. Built to handle a wide range of missions, this jet can perform air-to-air combat, ground attacks, and intelligence gathering, making it a versatile asset on the modern battlefield. What sets this fighter jet apart from older jets is its stealth technology, which makes it extremely hard to detect by radar. Unlike the classic fighter jet design, which focuses on speed and agility, the F-35's shape and materials help it absorb or deflect radar signals, allowing it to slip past enemy defenses unnoticed. This stealth ability makes it one of the most effective jets for operating in heavily defended airspace. It doesn't just rely on high speed to evade threats, it can avoid them altogether by remaining nearly invisible. It is loaded with advanced sensors and computers that give its pilot a complete picture of the battlefield. With its sensors, this aircraft can detect enemy planes and ground targets from far away, sharing this information instantly with friendly forces. This level of situational awareness makes it possible for this fighter aircraft to act as a force multiplier, helping other units on the ground or in the air by providing them with vital information about enemy positions and movements. These sensors are so powerful that this jet doesn't just protect itself, it helps coordinate the entire battle. The cockpit of the F-35 is designed to keep the pilot focused on the mission. It uses a touchscreen display instead of traditional controls, showing everything from flight information to radar data in one place. In addition, it has a unique helmet-mounted display system that shows data directly on the pilot's visor, allowing them to see critical information just by moving their head. The helmet even offers night vision and infrared, which means the pilot can see clearly no matter the time of day or the weather. The helmet is a key part of how this fighter jet operates, giving the pilot a full view of the battlefield without taking their eyes off the target. It is powered by a single Pratt & Whitney F135 engine, which is one of the most powerful engines ever installed in a fighter jet. This engine allows it to fly at speeds over Mach 1.6 and perform a supersonic dash, where it can fly at supersonic speeds without needing afterburners for short bursts. Armed with a wide variety of weapons, the F-35 is well equipped to handle different threats. Inside its stealthy design, it carries missiles and bombs that can be launched without compromising its low radar profile. For missions where stealth is less important, the F-35 can also carry additional weapons on external pylons, giving it more firepower for intense battles. The internal weapons bays hold long-range missiles for air-to-air combat and precision-guided bombs for ground attacks. This flexibility means that it can adapt to different combat scenarios, making it a formidable opponent in the sky and a powerful support aircraft for ground operations. Unlike previous jets, which required long hours of labor and specialized tools to service, this fighter jet has been built to reduce time spent on repairs. Its onboard systems can identify issues and provide diagnostics, which helps maintenance crews quickly address any problems. Some parts of this jet are made to be easily swapped out, which means it can spend less time on the ground and get back in the air quickly. This quick maintenance is important for making sure the F-35 fleet is always ready for action. The MQ-9 Reaper, developed by General Atomics, is a powerful unmanned aerial vehicle used by the U.S. military and allies around the world. Known as a hunter-killer drone, The Reaper is specifically designed for long-endurance, high-altitude missions, providing critical surveillance and precision strikes. Unlike other drones focused mainly on surveillance, this drone is built to carry out combat missions. Its advanced design allows it to fly for hours, watching over vast areas and, when necessary, striking targets with deadly accuracy. This flexibility makes it one of the most valuable assets for modern military operations. It is powered by a Honeywell TPE-331 turboprop engine, giving it more power than its predecessor, the MQ-1 Predator. This engine allows the Reaper to fly at speeds of up to 300 miles per hour and reach altitudes of 50,000 feet, keeping it above the range of most ground-based threats. Its endurance is a standout feature. The Reaper can stay airborne for up to 27 hours, covering large areas and providing constant surveillance or close support to ground forces. This extended flight time allows it to maintain a continuous presence in high-priority zones, ready to react quickly to developing situations. Equipped with a range of sensors and cameras, the MQ-9 is highly effective at gathering intelligence. Its main sensor system is housed in a ball-shaped structure under the nose, which includes an electro-optical camera, infrared sensors, and a laser rangefinder. This combination allows it to identify targets both day and night and in different weather conditions. Its ability to provide live video feeds and real-time data makes it an invaluable tool for commanders on the ground, giving them a clear picture of the battlefield. The data gathered by the Reaper's sensors can also be shared with other units, making it a central hub of intelligence for any operation. In addition to intelligence gathering, the MQ-9 is fully capable of engaging targets. It has a maximum payload of 3,750 pounds, allowing it to carry a variety of weapons. These weapons allow it to strike with precision, targeting enemy vehicles, structures, or even small groups of personnel with minimal risk of damage. The weapons are carefully selected based on mission requirements, giving this powerful drone a better loadout for different combat scenarios. This firepower has made it a go-to choice for targeted strikes in remote or high-risk areas. Pilots and sensor operators control this drone from ground stations, sometimes thousands of miles from the combat zone. Using satellite links, they can maneuver the drone, monitor its sensors, and launch attacks with precision. This remote control system gives this drone a unique advantage, as it doesn't require on-site personnel to operate, reducing risk and costs. The use of remote pilots also means that the Reaper can be deployed to multiple areas quickly, with the same crew potentially controlling different drones over different battle zones. One key benefit of the MQ-9 Reaper is that it's cheaper to operate. Unlike planes with pilots, it costs less and is easier to maintain. It doesn't need fuel for a pilot, special life support equipment, or a lot of extra setup. This affordability lets military forces use several drones at the same time, providing wide coverage over large areas without the high cost of sending out bigger planes. For intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance missions, this efficiency makes the MQ-9 one of the most cost-effective tools available. Though the F-35 can perform multiple roles, including air-to-air combat, ground attack, and reconnaissance, it lacks one important thing the A-10 has, which is the ability to get up close, withstand damage, and provide dedicated support to troops on the ground. This ability to take hits and keep going is a trademark of the A-10 and a feature newer jets aren't designed to prioritize. Also, unmanned drones like the MQ-9 Reaper can perform some tasks as the A-10, such as taking out targets on the ground while keeping pilots out of harm's way. It still lacks the flexibility and quick response of a manned aircraft. When ground troops need immediate support, an A-10 pilot can assess the situation in real time and react instantly, which is challenging for a drone that is controlled with remote control or pre-programmed tasks. There have been talks about retiring the Warthog due to budget. The Air Force continues to invest in it. In recent years, it has undergone upgrades to improve its electronics, communications, and weapon systems. These updates help the A-10 remain useful on the battlefield, enabling it to carry a broader selection of guided weapons and work better with other modern aircraft and ground troops. With new targeting systems, this jet can hit targets more accurately than ever, even in tough conditions. It has also been proposed to use a combined approach, where the A-10 flies alongside drones or more modern jets like the F-35. each bringing its own unique strengths to the battlefield. It will focus on direct, rugged support, while the high-tech jets or drones handle reconnaissance and stealthy operations. This team approach allows the Air Force to maximize its resources by pairing the Warthog's power with the F-35's advanced tech and the endurance of drones. Until a true successor is designed, retiring the Warthog would leave a gap in the U.S. military's close air support capabilities. While new technologies are impressive, they aren't necessarily built to endure the same level of intense combat that this outstanding aircraft was designed for. There is still no other aircraft with the same combination of low-flying, slow-speed maneuverability, heavy armor, and firepower, all of which have made it irreplaceable in many combat situations. For ground troops, the Warthog remains a reassuring sight, as it can stay overhead, respond to immediate threats, and carry out precision strikes with its cannon and other weapons. As threats continue to evolve, a new version of the A-10, next-generation close air support aircraft with modern technologies, is designed to do what the Warthog does best. This Super A-10 Warthog aims to improve the original design, adding improved stealth, speed, and unmanned capabilities without losing the rugged, close support focus. Building a next-generation Warthog would likely require significant funding and years of development, but it would keep the jet legacy alive while adapting to modern requirements. The A-10 Thunderbolt II, though aging, remains a symbol of endurance and dedication in the world of military aviation. It's unclear exactly how long the A-10 will remain in service, but as long as there's a need for close air support, the Warthog is ready to protect troops on the ground. The new Chinese stealth fighter, the J-20, is proving more powerful than ever. For years, the capabilities of the J-20 has been in question, but recent revelations have silenced the doubts. While the world watches in anticipation, the United States views this development with growing concern. Is the J-20 truly more advanced than before? Could it hold the edge over its American counterpart? Join us as we explore the new Chinese stealth J-20 aircraft with capabilities that have shocked the world. People often claim that China's top stealth fighters, the Chengdu J-20 and the Shenyang FC-31, copied design features from American and Russian fighters. Russian claims of copied technology come from the similarities between the J-20 and Russia's old MiG 1.44 project. While there may be some debate about the Russian influence, it is widely accepted that China did use parts of American stealth fighter designs in developing these aircraft. In March 2016, 51-year-old Chinese citizen Su Bin admitted to being part of what the United States Justice Department called a years-long conspiracy with senior Chinese military officials to steal American military secrets, especially designs for advanced stealth fighters like the F-22 and F-35 for China. According to the Justice Department, Su confessed to working with two people in China from October 2008 to March 2014 to break into protected computer networks in the United States, including Boeing's computers in Orange County, California, to steal sensitive military information and illegally send it to China. Su Bin, known as Stephen Su in Canada, was a respected businessman in the aviation industry running a small company called Load Tech, which specialized in aircraft cable harnesses. Despite its size, Load Tech had only a few employees and limited access to major aviation programs. The Air Force Office of Special Investigations considered it a small player in the field, which is true compared to aviation companies like Lockheed Martin and Boeing. Even with these work limitations, Su Bin continues to work persistently with one aim in mind: to build connections within the Canadian and American defense industries. Over time, he formed a vast network of contacts, gaining more open access to internal networks used by various United States and Canadian defense contractors. In 2008, China officially began work on its first stealth fighter to compete with Western jets like the F-22, giving Chengdu Aerospace Corporation a contract to develop Project 718. That same year, Su teamed up with two hackers from China's People's Liberation Army, using his business connections to help steal over 630,000 files from Boeing, totaling 65 gigabytes, which contained details on the C-17 heavy-lift cargo plane. Yet Su aimed even higher. He wanted information on America's stealth fighters. Through his growing network, he accessed even more data, focusing on Lockheed Martin's F-22 Raptor and F-35 Lightning II. Although he couldn't directly access Lockheed Martin's own systems, these fighters were developed by a network of contractors and subcontractors that shared design specs for production, giving him access to parts of the project. When people noticed his interest in these classified programs, Su brushed off their concerns by claiming he only sought seemingly minor details. Anderson shared Su's tactics, saying, Su would say that he wasn't asking for the whole F-35, just one system he might sell to a friend or client, and then he'd build on that over time. Over 6 years, Su and his team accessed tens of thousands of files about these stealth programs. Su didn't just direct the hacking operation, he also translated the stolen files into Chinese and drafted official reports for the PLA's General Staff headquarters on the data they managed to obtain. Su and his team may have worked hard to access this sensitive information, but they worked just as hard to hide their tracks. FBI counterintelligence experts traced their movements across multiple countries where they set up hot points, intermediary networks, either hacked or bought, designed to conceal the real origin of their cyber infiltration. In 2009, 6 government officials confirmed to the Wall Street Journal that Chinese hackers had accessed the Joint Strike Fighter program behind the F-35 multiple times. They had gathered several terabytes of data on the jet's design and systems. Pentagon officials explained that the hackers used a method to encrypt data as they stole it, making it challenging to pinpoint exactly what information was compromised. Some of the F-35 most classified systems, however, are kept separate from wider network access to prevent these security breaches. Still, this incident marked the beginning of Su and his team's downfall. In a 2011 email entered as evidence, Su boasted to his Chinese associates that the F-22 and F-35 data they obtained would allow them to rapidly catch up with U.S. levels, to stand easily on the giant's shoulders. Starting in 2011, in what Chinese officials might simply call coincidental timing, the J-20 fighter design, which had been developing since 2008, suddenly adopted major stealth-focused changes. Yet it would take 3 more years for these updates to show up in a new prototype. By 2013, Su had built connections with GE Aviation in Cincinnati, known for its expertise in turbofan technology, a field where China has struggled in its own stealth fighter development. Although the F-22 and F-35 use Pratt & Whitney engines, GE had originally submitted a design for the F-22, the YF-120 turbofan, which insiders claim was actually the more advanced choice. Ultimately, Pratt & Whitney's YF-119 engine won out due to its simplicity and reliability. In March 2014, China unveiled its updated J-20, featuring redesigned supersonic inlets, modified vertical stabilizers, and other enhancements. When images of the new J-20 hit the internet, several defense outlets noted that it bears an even stronger resemblance to Lockheed Martin's stealth jets. Aviation journalist David Cenciotti observed that the new J-20 nose looks strikingly like that of the F-22 and F-35. USNI News contributor Feng Cao noted the J-20's new F-22 gray color, suggesting improved radar-absorbent material. The outlet War is Boring even ran a story titled, "China's latest stealth fighter prototype has, well, actual stealth features." It's worth mentioning that not all these J-20 upgrades can be traced to espionage. Some were documented as part of legitimate research within Chinese academic circles. However, many still view the revamped J-20 as a huge win for Su Bin and his espionage activities. But Su did now have long to celebrate. Around the time this J-20 prototype was introduced, the United States Department of Justice filed criminal charges against Su for stealing thousands of files tied to U.S. defense programs. 4 months later, in July 2014, he was arrested by Canadian authorities. Though the FBI usually handles cases like this, the Air Force's Office of Special Projects, a division within the Office of Special Investigations, played a key role in securing Su Bin's arrest and extradition to the U.S. This was thanks to PJ's close connections with defense contractors and top United States officials, including members of the Air Force's C-17 program, and even contacts within Lockheed Martin. U.S. law enforcement eventually gained access to messages between Su, his team of hackers, and Chinese military officials. These communications showed how they created and edited detailed reports for the People's Liberation Army, outlining both their actions and the sensitive information they had managed to steal. This trove of stolen files, combined with the incriminating messages, made the charges hard to dispute. As a result, Su decided to skip the extradition hearing and agreed to be transferred directly to the United States. He initially faced a 30-year prison sentence for his actions. However, he quickly agreed to a plea deal, cooperating fully with U.S. authorities and receiving a reduced sentence of 46 months. While Su's theft covered a wide range, many of the documents he accessed weren't classified or export controlled. Yet, as the Air Force noted in 2016, even these less sensitive files allowed the Chinese military to reverse engineer many aircraft components, saving millions and shortening research and development time. Su's emails, the timeline of changes seen in the Chengdu J-20, and his eventual confession strongly suggest China's use of Lockheed Martin's designs in its own fighter programs. This connection, however, continues to be a topic of debate within the Pentagon and aviation communities. The J-20 is not a direct copy of the F-22, and thinking it would need to be to gain from technology theft shows a misunderstanding of fighter design. A fighter jet is more than just one design. It's a complex combination of parts and design elements working together. The similarities between Chinese and American stealth fighters are, however, still noticeable. While the J-20's delta wing and canard design looks a bit like Russia's old MiG 1.44 project, it also incorporates radar-evading features seen in the F-22 and F-35. Some argue that these similarities aren't due to copying, but physics, as any fighter aiming for agility and stealth might resemble the F-22 or F-35. This idea is supported by other stealth fighters in the works, like Turkey's Ka-an, South Korea's Kf-21, or India's AMCA, which share strikingly similar designs. The truth is that both India and South Korea had direct engineering help from Lockheed Martin on their stealth fighters, and Turkey's Ka-an fighter began development in 2016, well before Turkey was dropped from the F-35 program. These fighters look like Lockheed's designs because they had access to its expertise. The idea that all stealth fighters would end up looking like the F-22 doesn't hold up if we look at other stealth fighter designs that didn't make it to production. Boeing's odd-looking X-32 and Northrop's famous YF-23, which lost to Lockheed's designs, were both strong contenders in stealth. Many even believe that Northrop's YF-23 was stealthier than the YF-22, which became the Raptor we know today. Other stealth aircraft projects such as Northrop's Tacit Blue, Boeing's YF-118G Bird of Prey, NASA's X-36, and McDonnell Douglas's A-12 Avenger II took different approaches to designing low observable aircraft, showing little resemblance to Lockheed Martin's methods. Simply put, Lockheed Martin didn't discover the only way to design stealth fighters in the early 1990s, forcing everyone else to follow. Instead, Lockheed created the best mix of performance, stealth, and political backing to get its jets into production. This success allowed Lockheed Martin to help U.S. allies with their own designs, leading to similarities in some foreign aircraft. So China's use of Lockheed Martin's design ideas for its stealth fighters isn't just a result of testing in radar and wind tunnels, but a deliberate effort to catch up to American fighter technology through a mix of stealing secrets and its own research. So what does this mean for China's J-20 and their new stealth fighter, the FC-31, also called the J-35? Espionage has always been a part of military technology progress and will continue as long as there are conflicts. These fighters don't need to match American jets in every area to be a serious threat to U.S. security. In fact, they probably don't. Their true value lies in their role within China's broader defense strategy and evolving air combat plans. As China continues to develop this strategy, the full impact of these fighters is still unfolding. It would be a big mistake to write off these copycat fighters as cheap imitations with no real combat potential because of their stolen designs. Think of a high-point pistol. Sure, it looks like a knocked-off Glock, and it probably isn't as accurate or reliable. Effective strategies and tactics can turn the tables, even if the technology isn't top of the line. So China's use of stealth in its fighter jets doesn't need to perfectly match America's to be a serious threat. With the right training, systems, and strategy, the underdog can still come out on top. So did China steal designs from the F-22 and F-35 to boost its own fighter programs? Absolutely, without a doubt. As tensions between China and the West grow, especially over issues like Taiwan, military planners and analysts regularly compare the strengths of China's People's Liberation Army and the U.S. Department of Defense. While both countries' navies are crucial for any potential conflict, air forces will likely play an even more significant role. With the Pacific Ocean's vast size and the slow movement of ships, modern fighters and bombers have become key tools for projecting power in the region. Additionally, China's missile advancements, including ship-killer missiles stationed far inland to block U.S. Navy access in the South China Sea, emphasize the critical importance of air superiority. This leads to a very important question. How do U.S. and Chinese fighters compare? The J-20 Mighty Dragon is China's fifth-generation response to the F-22 and F-35. With its fast development and impressive capabilities, it seems to pose a real challenge to the F-22 Raptor, the U.S. Air Force's top air superiority fighter. However, when it comes to the actual comparison, several factors come into play. An aircraft that excels as the world's best dogfighter, capable of closing in on an enemy with ease, becomes ineffective if it can't hit its target. Modern fighters depend heavily on missiles, and having a greater missile load translates to more chances to strike. A missile could fail to arm in a single engagement, or the enemy might use countermeasures to defeat the shot. Alternatively, a larger missile load gives the fighter more time on station, allowing it to engage multiple threats. However, the complexity of weapons payloads on fifth-generation fighters like the J-20 and F-22 lies in the need to maintain a stealth profile. To achieve this, missiles must be stored inside the aircraft's body, which limits the number of weapons that can be carried. The F-22 has the upper hand when it comes to weapon capacity, with space for 6 AIM-120 AMRAAMs and 2 AIM-9X Sidewinders in its weapons bay, while the J-20 can only carry 4 missiles for beyond visual range and within visual range. Additionally, the F-22 is equipped with a gun, unlike the J-20, which reportedly lacks one. Even though missiles are a major part of air combat, as many F-4 Phantom pilots discovered during the Vietnam War, dogfights often come down to close-range gunfire. Knowing that an opponent can still close in for a gun kill after firing their missiles adds a level of caution. When it comes to range, the J-20 excels, capable of flying over 1,000 nautical miles on internal fuel, almost double the F-22's range, which is just under 600 nautical miles. However, this could change soon, as Lockheed Martin is working on stealth fuel tanks for the F-22 that could significantly extend its range. Performance-wise, the J-20 holds a slight edge in 3 key areas: thrust, speed, and sealing. Each WS-15 engine on the J-20 generates about 1,000 more pounds of thrust than the F-22's Pratt & Whitney F-119 engines. The J-20's engines are new, though, and haven't been tested under real-world conditions or over time, whereas the F-22's engines have undergone years of optimization and maintenance. In terms of speed, the J-20 can reach Mach 2.55, slightly faster than the F-22's Mach 2. Both jets can supercruise, meaning they can fly at supersonic speeds without using afterburners, saving fuel. The J-20 can also reach a higher altitude, reportedly topping 65,000 feet compared to the F-22 50,000 feet, although exact figures are classified, and they are likely similar in this regard. On paper, the J-20 appears to have some advantages, but the F-22 still holds its ground in several key areas. According to General Kenneth Wilsbach, head of U.S. Air Force Pacific, the J-20 isn't dominating yet compared to the F-22. While China's aerospace industry is making impressive progress, the U.S. still holds the upper hand in terms of overall fighter capabilities. However, the J-20 is becoming more powerful by the day. A top test pilot for China's J-20 stealth fighter recently revealed that the jet is undergoing constant upgrades, with a new generation of warplanes expected to be introduced soon. He explained that the J-20 is continuously evolving, adapting to modern advancements and refining its mission systems to meet its combat objectives. According to a Chinese military aviation expert, since the J-20's first test flight in 2011, China's aviation technology has advanced at an exceptional rate, surpassing that of other countries. The expert added that the latest upgrades to the J-20 include changes in aerodynamic design, new engines, and advancements in avionics, radar systems, software, and materials. With these recent upgrades, the J-20 might become the world leader in advanced fighter jets, far surpassing others, including the United States F-22, which hasn't had major upgrades since its creation and is slowly becoming outdated. However, observers pointed out that China is not resting on its success with the J-20, especially with countries like the US already working on developing sixth-generation fighter jets. Li, the J-20 test pilot, was quoted saying that as China's aviation technology continues to progress, the next-generation fighter jet will be unveiled soon. He further added that while China initially lagged behind the United States during the early stages of J-20 development, it has now caught up or even surpassed the US in the development of the next generation of fighter jets. Analysts have also suggested that China's upcoming warplane will probably be designed with an open architecture, similar to the J-20, allowing for rapid development, quick production, and easy upgrades. While no specific details have been revealed about China's next-generation fighter jet, observers have pointed out some global trends in the development of modern fighter jets. These trends include the use of artificial intelligence, the integration of loyal wingman drones, improved engines for faster speeds, enhanced situational awareness, increased stealth capabilities, and the role of acting as a C4ISR, that is, command, control, communications, computers, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance hub. Thanks for watching. While you are still here, click on the link appearing on your screen to check out another of our videos. See you there.